Hello, guys, and welcome to the Marigold Standard, your weekly audio source of all things Dream Star Fighting Marigold. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I'm joined as ever by Mr. Matt Turner. Matt, it feels like a lifetime since I've done some Marigold chat with you.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done the Marigold Standard together. I'm excited to talk about these three shows, or as we say in Scranton, Pennsylvania, tree shows.
Tree shows.
Tree shows. And no better way to start off our reunion on the Marigold Standard than me asking you a question, my friend. And that question, Rob, and I know you're not even ready for it.
I'm
coming out the gates. I am coming. That's like a fight as soon as the bell rings and Tyson throws the uppercuts. Anywho, the question is, what celebrity enjoys cereal the most?
Oh, God, I feel like I should know that. And I can imagine there are people listening going, it's obviously this, Rob. No, go on.
So the answer to the question is, what celebrity enjoys cereal the most is Reese with her spoon.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yes. Yes. Welcome back to the Marigold Standard. Rob and Matt are back together again. No better way than 60 seconds in telling an
my God.
Awful.
People are going to unsubscribe, and rightly so.
No way.
Yeah, no I mean, that is... How long have you been holding that in?
I actually think I heard on Talk Is Jericho on Friday. And I was like, I know how I'm starting off the podcast. I stole that one from every Friday on Talk Is Jericho. Duff McKagan does from Guns N' Roses. He does a joke of the week. Some of them are like really, really bad. Some of them are good. So like that was like, that's a really good one. That's a really good one.
That was a really good one. That's the bar, is it, for really good? Okay, cool.
Hell yeah.
Just so I'm aware.
Hell yeah. Do you want another one, buddy? I'm going to give you another one real quick.
I mean, sure. But I mean, I don't know how you were going to follow that, but sure.
This one I don't think is as good. This one is straight from my kiddo. This is straight one from Lily, so it is a dad joke.
Shout out Lily.
Yes, absolutely. Do you know that French fries weren't made in France? They're
really?
made in Greece. No, they're made in Greece.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, I'm starting to remember why I took a break.
Rob Goodwin, we will see you back here at the start of the Dream Star.
I'm peacing out, ladies and gentlemen. That's me done. But yeah, I mean, I don't honestly know how I'm going to follow that up. But how are you, good sir? Everything I assume is fantastic, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Yeah, really good, really good. We just coming off some fantastic shows from Stardom. Obviously, on the Stardom cast, we talked about the phenomenal final of the Cinderella tour with Han and Rena. Before we hit the record button, I was telling you Tokyo Joshi Pro finished their first 2 nights of their Texas tour, drawing a combined like 3,500 people, which is absolutely insane. Rob, I know you're a busy guy. Go out of your way on night 2, semi-main event, Shoko Nakajima versus Miyu Yamashita. Fantastic. Both the shows are really good. Both the shows are clocking in like right around 2 hours. And you fast forward through the concert, you know what concert I'm talking about. You don't need to necessarily. I'm a metal guy, so and I know that you're pretty much a hard rock guy. You definitely they didn't the Up girls as fancy as they are. There wasn't any Slayer or Anthrax covers.
Give it time. Give it time, mate.
Well, we're on night 3, and if you do remember, Pantera is from Texas, so that's where I'm holding on to hope that they maybe cover,
Walk.
Walk would be a good one, or Cowboys.
Just imagine.
But
the image of me at an RB just like.
But brother, no, everything's really good this weekend. Myself and Andy Header will be trekking off to New York for the big event, so I'm super excited for that. I get to hang out with Andy Header all day, and I was really excited to see maybe if we can possibly get some interviews. However, the big event did send messages out on social media that there is going to be no media other than photos, just because they don't want any interviews or podcasts or anything for YouTube, just because if there's a long line, that would then plug up.
Yeah.
So I understand that. I completely understand that. But no, I'm looking forward to. I'm looking to see what's going to happen when Andy Header meets his idol, timeless Tony Storm. So that's,
has he not met Tony Storm yet?
He's never met.
Oh my God!
Storm. Never met Tony Storm. If you remember, we met Tony last year in Vegas.
He did. She was great.
It was right around the time of Andy's birthday, and I made sure that she got she signed something for him. And I think she even said, make sure you give Andy a big kiss with tongue for me. So that's good old Toni Storm.
That's this weekend's present for Andy sorted. But who else have you got on the docket to meet? I know that you are meeting Strike Force.
Strike Force, Jamie Hayter. That'll be on the list. Mina again. I do have an All-Star Grand Queendom 2023 poster that I have signed by Mercedes Monet that I want Mina to sign, because in my opinion, Mina had the best match on that show with Saya Kamatani for the Wonder Belt. So probably, I think KJ, Anna Jay, and Ty Mello, because I do have some Stardom questions for them as well. Doctor of Style Slick, that's really high up on the list. Jimmy Hart, because Jimmy Hart he's just a good dude, just a really good dude. So it all depends on who else is there, but I think Chris Statlander is going to be there. It's another really, really loaded show.
Am I right in thinking that Kazuchika Okada's there?
Okada, that's right. Okada as
You've
well.
got to meet Okada, surely.
Yeah, actually, no. Once we get off this, I got to prepay for the photo so it doesn't sell out. So thank you for the reminder, buddy. The only thing I prepaid for was for Header's birthday / thank you for putting up 84 podcasts a month for us for his Toni Storm thing. So no, I'm super excited for it. Again, unfortunately, we won't be able to do interviews. And again, I completely understand that. But look for the full review on Talk Joshi, on the Marigold Standard, on the Stardom Cast, right here on the World of Joshi Podcasting Network, my friend. Podcasting Network. Hopefully I do get an interview with the most important person in Joshi, Gurp Goodwin. That's what we want to get.
It's the one we want. It's the one we want. Oh, what a name. To be honest, I still look back on that and shudder a bit at just how badly they've mispronounced my name. But you know what? It's fine. I'm going to own it. Absolutely.
But brother, what do you got going on this weekend? Anything fun? You playing any football?
Well, I went to football practice yesterday and obviously lived to tell the tale, which is great. Which honestly, you make it. I know it sounds like I'm being over dramatic, but genuinely, it's like running the gauntlet every time I get moving. But yeah, we've got a game Sunday against the same team that beat us 5-1 at the weekend, so that's going to be fun. Newcastle proceeded to embarrass not just their fan base, but I think football as a whole last night. They lost to Barcelona in Barcelona 7-2, which is exactly. There have been American football scores that have been less than that, which is quite scary, really. But there we are. So it was a mixed bag last night. Keep it here so you can hear about just how badly we lose on Sunday, and I'm sure we'll go through that on the Stardom Cast or the Marigold Standard. We're a bit short on Stardom shows next week, but Marigold have got a pair of shows from Matsuyama and the 176 box in Osaka that we will be talking about next week. Today, Matt Turner, though, we have got 3 shows to talk about. Obviously, last week, when we were recording, the idea was that the show from the 8th of March, couldn't remember the month we were in then, great, from Chunichi Hall, which was video on demand, that was initially supposed to drop on the Thursday. So if it dropped early enough, myself and Matt were going to watch it and then review it Thursday evening. It didn't go up on Thursday for whatever reason. Stuff happens. That's absolutely fine. But obviously that left us with no shows to review. So Matt did a bonus alternate commentary. And we just said we pushed the 8th to the show today. So we're going to be reviewing, as I mentioned, that show from the 8th. Today, we're also going to be talking the Korakuen Hall show from the 14th and the Go Chica Homecoming show from Sunpearl Arakawa as well on the 15th. So three shows to talk about, as well as a little bit of news as well emanating from the world of Marigold, mainly because myself and Matt haven't had a chance to discuss it. And that is where we find ourselves with this opening bit, and this is more because, Matt, I just want to wax lyrical about this match. The Universe Mixed Magic 6-woman tag match then. So the idea behind this, if you remember, was that you had a member of Marigold, a member of Sendai Girls, and a member of Marvelous on one team, and then the same on the other team. And the idea was we'd get really cool permutations and really cool sort of connections across all of the teams. This went down on the 9th of March. And as we predicted, we did indeed get some absolutely sensational teams. Mayu Iwatani, Mika Iwata, and Miyamoto taking on Takumi Iroha, Miyuki Takase, and Utami Hayashishita. It was an absolutely fantastic match. Of course, we saw, again, the magic that Mayu Iwatani and Takumi Iroha can bring. Utami versus Mika Iwata, who doesn't want to see that match? A really, really good match. And, you know, we're often skeptical of time limit draws. I am absolutely fine with this going 20 minutes. And again, every single woman got their chance to shine and blew everything else on the show out of the water by all accounts.
Yeah, the one little negative thing that I kind of had with this, and I mentioned this on Andy with Andy Header on Talk Joshi because we talked about this, is, and this was a little selfishness on my part. I wanted Mayu and Miyamoto on the opposite sides of the ring. Just because,
I knew that would be the thing you wanted because of the tease we had. Feels like forever ago.
I think it was like the fall or winter of last year. So regardless, though, Utami and Miyamoto have a really great chemistry. There was an ending sequence where everybody's hitting their big moves, where Miyamoto just flings Utami, like just throws, like Mio has a very underrated German suplex. Just this match was fantastic. Once this match started, I'm like, this is going to TLD, and I wanted to go to the TLD. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think as great as everything was in the match, like Miyuki Takase really bringing up her game against Mayu. Miyuki Takase, when she does singles matches or when she's not paired with Mika Wada, is really good at the comedy style wrestling. Like where she's at her best is when she's with Mika Wada, but as a tag team. And I thought it was really interesting that you had Red Energy, Owada, and Takase on opposite ends. But they started this match off with Takase and and Mayu. And Miyuki Takase really brought it to Mayu. Literally, the point I was like, that would be a great GHC Pro Wrestling Noah challenge. I would love to see Miyuki Takase versus Mayu for the Noah Joshi Championship because those two tore it up. For me, the best parts for this match, maybe because I'm a kick-happy type wrestler, were the exchanges, the violent exchanges between Mika Owada and Takumi Iroha. Oh boy, howdy. I watched this match twice. And like the first time I watched, I'm like, that didn't feel like 20 minutes. Like, did I get the time limit wrong? Was that only 15? So I went back and watched it and timed it because it went by so fast. Like there was nothing missed. There was no missteps. Like everything fit. Everybody looked good. Both teams looked great. The ending sequence with the waterfalls was terrific. That's exactly once they announced this match, we kind of figured what we were going to get, and it absolute home run. Loved it. I actually gave it 4.25 stars. Really, really terrific. One of my favorite matches from last week. And this Universe Magic, I thought was great. Love to see them maybe if they do more of this where they can, because the rosters are really deep, especially on Marigold. You're throwing in Sendai Girls, you're throwing in Marvelous. Obviously, when this was first announced, Rob, we're like, it's definitely going to be Chihiro Hashimoto. And then we forgot Chihiro Hashimoto was overseas in Germany for WXW. So not unless she gets the fancy, fantastic four jet that I guess that Seri is going to have, which we'll get into it in a moment, that obviously Chihiro Hashimoto didn't make it. But this was great. You know, this is kind of our first taste of what they're going to do here. Hopefully they do more of this because this was special. This was special. This was for the fans. This was for the fans, and this was just absolutely brilliant. Please, Wrestle Universe, more of this. Cut aside.
Mika Iwata versus Miku Aono. That's one I'd want to see. Having now experienced Miku Aono's kicks live and appreciating just how hard she hits people with those kicks.
Not personally.
Okay, no, I didn't just annoy her that much backstage that she kicked me in the head that hard. But just,
really nice
just the volume. She was lovely in general. But just you mentioning Miyamoto and that German suplex, it's a very similar German suplex to the one that Natsupoi throws. Because Natsupoi is another one who's got a really, really good German suplex. I think a lot of it is to do with their low center of gravity. And because they're able to power out of that low center, of course, they are deceptively strong.
Physics review with Rob Goodwin here on the Marigold Standard. I like that. Since you don't learn things.
Exactly. Well, it's like when we play football, and it's hard to sort of knock a smaller player. I mean, it's hard for me to knock anyone off the ball, to be perfect. It's hard for me to get close to anyone, to be perfectly honest. They say that it's harder to knock a smaller person off the ball because they have a lower center of gravity and they're more stable. And that's the same here. That's exactly why Miyamoto is able to throw someone like Utami so effortlessly. Why Natsupoi is able to launch people that she shouldn't really be able to launch across the ring in the way that she does. Yeah, a fantastic match. If you haven't already gone and checked this out, please do. It is really worth your time. 20 minutes. And again, if you're already subscribed to Wrestle Universe, it's another wonderful thing that you're getting for that low price per month. Moving on then, and another match we are going to be getting from Shinjuku FACE on the 20th of April is going to be Seri Yamaoka and Yuki Yamazaki, whose birthday it is, by the way, today. 19 years old, Yuki Yamazaki. They will be taking on the Sendai Girls team of Chihiro Hashimoto and Manami in a special tag team match in the first Aoki Clutch show, which is a Shinya Aoki produce show. This is going to be very, very good. Now, we have already seen Seri Yamaoka versus Chihiro Hashimoto in singles action. However, I think it's fair to say that Seri Yamaoka is someone who has grown exponentially since that last singles encounter. And looking at where she is now, the confidence that she is exuding, the way that she is very much a sort of a light in this company that a lot of the stuff goes around. I'm very excited to see what her and Chihiro can do. And Manami's fantastic. I'm really looking forward to watching this because Manami is fantastic. That match that is coming up between her and Chihiro Hashimoto for the Sendai Girls title, which I believe is the end of this month, is another really, really good match to keep an eye out for. Poor Yuki Yamazaki. I will just say that now, because despite it being her birthday today, she is 1,000% looking at the lights at the end of this match.
The Rob Goodwin, 1,000%. I don't know if she's either looking at the lights or she's being tapped out. But yeah, I'm willing to put a small wager that
she's not winning. Let's put it that way. She's not coming out with a dub. Can you imagine? Just rolls up Chihiro Hashimoto after 8 minutes.
She gives her a lariat and it wins by via knockout, like Sherry at the first All-Star Grand Queendom.
But Yamazaki.
And then she pins her like Warrior and Savage at Mania 7. Puts the jacket on, puts Chihiro's jacket on, lifts the Sendai Girls belt up, takes it for hostage, puts it in a briefcase. Anywho, boy, we just really...
There is your weekly pro wrestling cover right there.
Who needs Hanan in the dress all spray painted from Konami?
Absolutely.
Yeah, this will be really interesting because, yeah, you're right. You have Hashimoto and Manami just like 2 weeks prior. They're going to be wrestling each other for the Sendai Girls World Championship. I believe it's the same show as Red Energy versus Bob Momo Banana. So again, more great wrestling to look forward to. So you do kind of have a Sendai Girls versus a Marigold style match. And I hope they present it like that, because usually when they do these little like faction warfares or company warfares, it's really cool and it adds a little bit more oomph into it. And then you get the Shinya Aoki produced show. We know Seri Yamaoka, she was taught the Aoki clutch from the legend that is Shinya Aoki. So you throw that in. It's really interesting to see how the rest of this card flushes out. And it is in Shinjuku FACE, probably about 2 months before the building is going to close for renovation. So again, a great venue with a really great tag match. But to me, this is going to be a nice spotlight for Yuki Yamazaki. I think out of all the wrestlers in Marigold that over the last 3 or 4 months, the one wrestler that's kind of on the opening match or to the middle of a card that we've really been enjoying has been probably Nagisa Takabana and Yuki Yamazaki. So I think even though she's going to be eating the lights here, I believe there's going to be a lot more eyes on Yuki Yamazaki, and that's only going to help her out and help Dreamstar Fighting Marigold out.
Yeah, you don't want anyone eating the lights.
Eating the pin, looking at the lights. I've been saying that a lot lately. Eating the lights.
I'm glad you brought up Nagisa Takibana because, as I'm sure anyone that has been watching Marigold will agree, she's really, really becoming undeniable, really. And Marigold are going to find themselves with a happy little problem very, very soon, I feel, especially if she keeps performing at the rate that she is doing. Just going through a couple of cards that have been announced today as we record. Speaking of Shinjuku FACE, Marigold returned to the venue on the 28th of March, and they've announced a full card for that show. It is going to be main evented by the double title match that was teased at Korakuen Hall. Mayu Iwatani will defend both the GHC Women's and the Superfly title against Natsumi Shozuki. So Mayu 100% losing there. We've then got a 6-woman tag in the semi-main event, which will see Mika Wano and Mai Sakurai team with a debuting Mayumi Ozaki against the Darkness Revolution team of Nagisa Nozaki, Chiaki, and Ria Sato. Elsewhere on the card, Utami Hayashishita, Koki Amare, and Hummingbird will be taking on Megaton, Angel Hayze, and Maddy Morgan. Shoko Kashino will continue her 7-match trial series against Go Chika. Victoria Yuzuki, Kamomo Minami, and Nagisa Takibana will be taking on Spunky Monster and Yuka Yamazaki. And then there is a 3-way between Naoi Ishikawa, Misa Matsui, and AI. Matt, another tasty card for Marigold in Shinjuku FACE. They tend to really ramp it up for Shinjuku FACE, and I do like that. This championship match, obviously, Mayu Iwatani is not losing this match. I mean, even if it was for one title, it'd be a dubious decision to have her drop either of the titles, but both on the line, irrelevant of how good Natsumi Shozuki has been since her return, and she has been fantastic. There is not a chance. And you know what? I know how bad my track record is when I say 1,000% or it's never going to happen. Short of something going terribly, terribly wrong in this match, there is not a chance that Mayu is dropping that title or either of them. That being said, I don't care, because this is one of the matches that I wanted to see. When Mayu debuted, this was one of the singles matches I wanted to see, because there's history there from their time way back in the early days of Stardom, irrelevant of if Mayu says she can't remember who Natsumi Shozuki is or whatever horrible things she said in that backstage comment at Korakuen. This is going to be everything I love about Marigold, and this I am fully excited for, Matt.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how sure are you Mayu retaining here?
Oh, 10, mate. In fact, 15.
Okay, let me be the first to congratulate Natsumi Shozuki as the new. They teased this match at Korakuen Hall, and we're gonna get into it when we talk about the second show. And then Natsumi's like, "No, I kind of want both," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So I'm now kind of thinking, putting my booking hat on, how I would have done this. Again, maybe this is me being a little bit too greedy, which I'm trying to not be that much greedy. But however, this would make sense to me. Is they do Natsumi versus Mayu for the Superfly Championship. It goes to the TLD. Mayu gets upset that she couldn't beat Natsumi, even though she retains. So then the next show, the next Cork, and she puts the GHC up because that's an hour time limit. So I would have done a 2-match series out of this, and then just have the first one be fantastic. Like, oh, by the way, if you want to see it again, come back to Korakuen Hall, and we'll do it for the Noah. But it'll be for an hour, because that's the Noah rules. Obviously, that's not happening. We're just getting all in one lump sum. Not going to complain about, of course not. And it is next week, and again, something else to look forward to, Rob. Another reason to stay alive and healthy and happy, healthy and happy. Easy for me to say. The whole card looks great, and it's Shinjuku FACE, so it's going to be streamed live. We're not going to have to wait the 2 to 3 days for it to come up on Wrestle Universe. It's something that we can watch on Friday night, Saturday morning, or whenever it airs. Regardless, I'm really looking forward to this one. But I agree. I'm not going to say on a scale of 1 to 10, a 15, like a 9.2, that Mayu retains both belts. This can be a great spotlight for Natsumi Shozuki to get a big match, main event match, against a massive talent that is Mayu Iwatani.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just on the undercard, the Marigold debut of Mayumi Ozaki as well against Darkness Revolution, who I think we would all assume she would be a part of. I think Mayumi Ozaki will be a great fit in Darkness Revolution, but I'm sure we'll see how that pans out.
Maybe a turn there.
Maybe. I mean, she is teaming with Mai Sakurai and Mika Wano, both who hold titles in Marigold. Maybe we do see Mayumi Ozaki align herself with Darkness Revolution, and that maybe opens the door for a title match down the line. Either way, very, very, very exciting. And of course, I was impressed with what I saw from Maddy Morgan and Angel Hayze. So they're going to be really good additions to the roster for the 3 months that they're on, which Maddy Morgan did confirm, I believe, on an interview before she came over to Japan, that she was signed for 3 months. So very similar to the Myla Grace deal that they had in place. The day after this, then, Marigold are obviously at the, and I can never remember the name of this shrine, so I'm going to get it up so that I don't get this wrong. So just bear with me a second. On the 29th of March, Marigold are going to the Yasukuni Shrine Sumo Arena, and they will be running a full card there. Again, they've announced a title match. The 3D Trios title will be on the line as Natsumi Shozuki, Arini Yamanaka, and Mai Sakurai, collectively known as Levion Rose, which a beautiful name, I think you'll agree. They will be defending against Spunky Monster of Seri Yamaoka and Shino and Yuki Yamazaki. We've also got Mayu Iwatani, Victoria Yuzuki, and Kamomo Minami taking on the Darkness Revolution team of Misamatsui, Ria Sato, and Chiaki. Maddy Morgan and Angel Hayze will be taking on Hummingbird and Chika Goto. Utami Hayashishita and Nao Ishikawa versus Miko Ano and Koki Amare. That's going to be very good as well. Nagisa Nozaki versus Shoko Kashino, again in Shoko Kashino's 7-match trial series. And then we've got a 3-way as well. Nagisa Takibana versus Megaton versus AI. That 3D Trios title match looks very tasty, Matt. It was good to see that main eventing the Corrigan Hall show as well, seeing Marigold really put some faith in those titles to main event the Corrigan Hall show. And what it really does is it really gives, and this is what we talked about when Marigold announced that they were bringing these titles in, it does give people like Ashino, for example, who isn't quite ready to challenge for a United National title or a world title. It gives her something. It keeps her in the spotlight. A Yuki Yamazaki, for example, who me and you are full of praise for, this is a good way of sort of acclimatizing them to a title match. And again, when you've got people in the ring like Natsumi Shozuki, like Mai Sakurai, and to be fair, like Arina Yamanaka, who over the past couple of weeks, having had more shows with Marigold, having left PPP Tokyo, I think we've seen the best of Arina Yamanaka, or certainly getting towards the best of Arina Yamanaka, which is very, very exciting.
Yeah, what this also does is it puts more emphasis on the shows to sell tickets and views and subscriptions to Wrestle Universe, because you look at
gives people a reason to go.
100%. When you have a title match, it's a gimmick match, even though it's like not a ladder match. It's a gimmick match, and it gives, you're absolutely right, buddy. It gives people more incentive to go. I mean, you look at the last few shows, other than this Cork and the Cork and before, we had a red belt, a white belt match. We had the trios titles on not that long ago. Again, we're going to talk about it. And then coming up next week, and we have a 1-2 punch with Mayu defending 2 championships against Natsumi Shozuki. And then we have this match the very next day. So we're seeing more titles on the line on whether it's the Corkin shows, the non-Corkin shows. So you're absolutely right. It gives more emphasis for people to go. It's more an incentive. Be like, hey, do you want to go to the show? There's going to be championship matches on the line. That automatically, put that on a poster when you talk about it, at the water cooler at work, or if you put it on social media, it immediately catches somebody's eye, and that's your hook in order them to, again, buy a ticket or buy the subscription to Wrestle Universe. So I'm all for it. This match, for the main event for the 3D Trios title, I know it's going to be an absolute belter. It's going to be fantastic. And then the match before, you mentioned with Darkness Revolution versus Team Mayu, is going to be fantastic as well. So both these cards coming up here at the end of the month from Dreamstar fighting Marigold are 2 shows that I'm looking from start to finish, really looking forward to. And again, the 2 Angel and Maddy Morgan, the few shows they've been on, they've been really, really well. And I know as their tour keeps on going, they're going to get better, very much like we saw with Myla Grace and Zeta Steel, which, by the way, both those wrestlers are doing great. Myla Grace is over in TNA, and Zeta Steel is doing really well over at Ring of Honor.
I don't know if you saw the press conference for this show. They did the collective press conference for this show and for the 14th of March Corrigan, which we're going to be talking about, outside the shrine itself. And Chika Goto stole the show because apparently in preparation for Maddy Morgan and Angel Hayes' debut, she had been learning English. And she'd done that by downloading Duolingo and doing 3 days of English. And honestly, I thought she did very, very well. With the small amount of English, she said she got the cadence right. Very, very, very impressive. And then obviously we had the nice to meet you during the Corrigan Hall match as well. And Sonny and Tom Fain did say on commentary that Maddy Morgan and Angel Hayze were welcomed with open arms by the Marigold roster, which was very, very nice, Matt, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, what are they going to do as soon as they open the door? Hi, nice to meet you. And then they get jumped. Like,
I mean, to be fair, depends who they get met by. To be fair, I can imagine Megaton roughing some people up.
She's got the fork, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, she's got a title now. Like
2 wins in a row.
It's all gone to her head. It's all gone to her head.
2 wins in a row. She's a big star. But
absolutely.
No, that's great to hear. Again, they're fleshing out this roster, at least for the next few months. And again, those 2 wrestlers are going to come off this tour better wrestlers because they're in Marigold. They're going to be in the dojo. They're going to be in the ring. They're going to be training before, during, and after the matches. They're going to be learning from the Mayus, from the Sakurais, the Miko Anos, the Utami. So really interesting to see where their tour goes. Hope they keep them as a tag team because the tag team stuff that we've seen with them, they seem to gel really well together. And I would love to see them going up against like a Mayu and a Komomo, or a Spunky Monster, or two of the 3 members of the Ladyship, or whatever their name is. I'm going to call them the Ladyship. Until they come out with merch, they're the Ladyship. They're the Ladyship.
Until we get the match graphic, it's not official. Yeah, and I will be shouting Spunky Monster every single time because it is in capital letters and it is a ridiculous name.
You're a professional. You're professional. But no, just to kind of put a bow on the whole Chikagoto learning English, as long as she gets the sarcasm down.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what it is. You know, I mean, us English-speaking folk over here, we're really good at the sarcasm and the hard sell. Good. Yeah, that's
and the self-deprecation. It's the 3 things we are extremely good at.
Yeah, stay positive, buddy. Remember, Star Wars Episode 2 is actually really good.
Come on now. You can't be that positive.
I enjoy it.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
We do. Anyhow,
no, you don't.
Rob's gonna
this right here now is the meme of Anakin and Padme. And Anakin's like, I really enjoy Attack of the Clones. And I'm Padme, and I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
There's a really great fight scene at the end.
Oh, good. Well, that makes sitting through 2.5 hours of absolute drivel worth it, then. On the plus side, they do have General Grievous, who is hilarious.
See, there you go. Rob he like General Grievous in Star Wars Episode 2. We're linking them together. They're flowing like a river. Rob liked Episode 2. All right, next segment.
Ladies and gentlemen, comment below. Tell us why Attack of the Clones was absolutely awful. Final thing, and this isn't technically to do with Marigold, but as Seri is a former Marigold World Champion, I'm just going to tag it on here because this is ridiculous. West Coast Pro, who are teaming with Marvelous as a part of Shooting Starfest, bringing their show over to the US for Las Vegas in April, have announced that Spark Rush, which is Seri and Takumi Iroha, will be featured on their show on the 16th. Rob, I hear you cry in the past or in the future. However that works. Isn't Seri supposed to be at Corrigan Hall on April the 16th, taking on Saya Kamatani and Chihiro Hashimoto at Fortune Dream? Why, yes, she is. Seri loves wrestling that much, apparently, that she is wrestling Chihiro Hashimoto and Saya Kamatani in a 3-way at Corrigan Hall on April 16th as a part of Kenta Kobashi's Fortune Dream, is then hopping on a red-eye flight straight to Las Vegas to team with Takumi Iroha as Spark Rush on April 16th at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time. There's love of the game, and then there is that. That is unbelievable dedication from Seri.
Yeah, they I had a couple people. This dropped late last night, so you probably didn't see this until this morning.
I saw it this morning, yeah.
Yeah, I think this dropped like around 9:30 for me last night, and I was getting tagged in some tweets. They're like, did the people at Marvelous not know that she's wrestling in Japan that date? There's no way this can happen. I'm like, actually, there can be, because let me tell you a story. When I was in Japan, I left Wednesday. at
I
7
genuinely
o'clock.
thought you were going to go, let me take you on a little story, and then you were going to do the plot to Back to the Future. I was like, oh my God.
No. We're Star Wars only. I'll get Back to the Future next week. That's Back to the Future podcast. But no, I mean, again, because of the time zone difference, I left Japan 7 o'clock Wednesday night, and then my plane arrived at about 6:30 on Wednesday night. So it's just like, yes, you can do that there, and it's 10:30 at night. So she's going to have time for this. Now the question is, who is the team? Because if you do remember, last year at the Marvelous show, me and you walked in there and our energy level was 0.001.
I was dying because it was just after Bloodsport as well, wasn't it? And we missed Gabe Kidd, Josh Barnett. We missed the last bit of that match because we wanted to get over for Marvelous. And I think I said this on the review. I have no shame in saying I was for missing this show. I was that tired. I was still jet lagged. I was like, if you want to miss this show, man, I'm fine with that. But you were like, no, let's power through. It's Las Vegas, baby. They might not have been your exact words, but that was the sentiment. It's Vegas, baby.
Vegas, baby. And the crowd energy really took us. Like once we got in there, the crowd energy.
It was that Senka and Aja Kong match, man. That, and to be fair, Rina Master and Maya World was really, really good as well.
And if you remember the main event that had Takumi Iroha on one side and Shuri on the other. The reason why I bring this up, we had a Stardom wrestler on that show. Rob, I'm going to throw it out there in the ether.
Go on, then.
I'm going to throw it out there in the ether. Whether it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Spark Rush versus Starbomb. Oh, no, wait, they can't do it. I think Starlight Kid is on the
Starlight Kid's at Death. Yeah, Starlight Kid has literally been announced today on the Death Vegas Invitational. She's teaming with Dragon Kid against ELP and Maki
We got to get then maybe
why
Hazuki and Azumi. Oh my goodness. I
mean, to be fair, this is Marvelous. You could just have them take on Magenta and everyone would be like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's great. I'd be more than happy with that. I mean, Natsupoi is literally over there. Like, it's Seri. Let's put Natsupoi in there. Shingo will come over. Yeah, let's throw Shingo in there as well. But yeah, you could very well have Poi and Azumi or Natsupoi and Hazuki if you do want to put Stardom talent in there. Either way, if you are going to Las Vegas for WrestleMania week, even though this is a 10:30 p.m. show, obviously I know that there is the Death Vegas Invitational. But the Marvelous show was legitimately one of my favorite shows I went to that entire week. And that includes both Stardom shows. I enjoyed the Marvelous show better than both Stardom shows. I enjoyed Marvelous better than the vast majority of WrestleMania night too. It was a fantastic show, and I actively encourage you to go and watch it if you can, obviously.
I'm looking at the address here, but this is the same one as the Pandemonium show that we're sponsoring, right? 1301 South Main Street.
Yeah, it's Chica Starfest. So you know how DPW, Prestige, and another company, I think it was West Coast Pro, all did sort of one thing from one building. I believe that's what they're doing here with Pandemonium Pro. I could be wrong though.
I just realized we can stay on this forever, but I'll close this one more thing. I know Miyamoto is on that West Coast Pro show, and she's part of Marvelous. Miyamoto, Maya World, Vert Vixen. Like, there's a lot. They can literally Johnny Robbie is a good shout. Saida is a good shout. Oh, man. There's just about anything that they can do. Anything they could. Demolition is being inducted to the Hall of Fame. Demolition versus Spark Rush. That's it. That's it. That's what I want to see.
I am telling you now, if you put Demolition in with Spark Rush, Demolition will not make it to the Hall of Fame. And that's not a spoiler. It's a whatever the hell Paul Heyman
prediction.
says.
No, you got it.
Prediction. Right. It was prediction, wasn't it? No, no, that's not right. Surely.
It's not.
That's not a spoiler. That's a promise.
That's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. Was the other way around?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. I knew it was prediction. Anyway, moving on.
Demolition
That's
versus
news.
Spark Rush. Book it, Chigusa.
Absolutely. And that is why we don't get invited to wrestling shows. Moving on, let's start talking about some of these shows. We're going to start with the very beginning of the Spring Victory Series. Night one was from the 8th of March in the Nagoya Chunichi Hall in Aichi. The announced attendance inside Shinichi Hall was 365. A great number for Marigold. It's their highest number they've drawn to the venue in the 5 times they've run there, and it's a 15.87% increase on their previous best of 315 that they achieved in April 2025. So a really good way to start off this tour for Marigold. Tag team action opened this up. The Darkness Revolution team of Misa Matsui and Rhea Sato defeated Megaton and now Ishikawa. Again, Misa Matsui pinning Megaton with the best flying knee strike in the business, bar none, in 9 minutes and 55 seconds. Another tag team match followed. Darkness Revolution Chiaki and Nagisa Nozaki defeated Koki Amare and Hummingbird, with Chiaki getting the win over Hummingbird in 13 minutes and 51 seconds. 6-woman tag action, Seri Yamaoka, Yuki Yamazaki, and Shino defeated Natsumi Shizuki, Mai Sakurai, and Arina Yamanaka in non-title action. Seri Yamaoka pinning Arina Yamanaki with that Aoki clutch in 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Shoko Kishino's 7-match trial started with her opening match against Miko Aono. She was unsuccessful against the Marigold World Champion, who pinned her with the Styles Clash in 10 minutes and 42 seconds. And then in your main event, the 6-woman tag match, Mai Iwatani, Victoria Yuzuki, and Kamomo Minami defeated Utami Hayashishita, Chika Goto, and Nagisa Takibana. Yuzuki pinning Nagisa with the cross-armed suplex in 15 minutes and 42 seconds. Matt, it's nice to see that even though I've been away from the podcast for a month or so, some things never change, and Misa Matsui's flying knee is still the best flying knee out there.
Really weird. Every time you say that, my phone goes off, and it's Miko Wada and Miyu Yamashita. Wow, they're both. I don't know why that always is. Misa Matsui does have a great flying knee. You had a little bit of everything this match. I'm enjoying Misa and Rhea as a tag team almost as much so as Misa and Chiaki. And I know Misa and Chiaki are the tag champs, but there's something about these two as a team. I think they just works a little bit better than the Misa and Chiaki. But regardless, you had Megaton in there, so you did have your usual shtick, the fun shtick. Now Ishikawa, she had great sequences with Misa and Rhea Sato. And we see now it's a little bit more updated gear over these last few shows. I think she has like $1 million. Again, she's another one that I would love to see pushed up towards maybe a United National Championship sometime in the future. They just need to get some steam behind her, but I think she's ready for it. She was terrific in this match, but ultimately what it comes down to is just the teamwork of Misa and Rhea. And whenever in the ring with Megaton, because you forget to remember that Megaton was a member of Darkness Revolution before they kicked her out, they always do a little bullying, and that's what happens as Misa Matsui just bullies poor Megaton, hits that beautiful flying knee for the 3 count, 3.25 stars for me.
How long do you think before Misa Matsui challenges for the big one? Because I don't think she wins it, obviously. Certainly not yet, anyway. I think she's more than a credible challenger. Obviously, we've only just had Chiaki, who looks badass, by the way, with that shaved head. Oh, my God. Keep it shaved. She looks incredible. But I think Misa Matsui versus Miko Aono could legitimately be an absolute barn burner of a Crimson Red Belt match.
I'm actually... Yeah, I remember I made a note from the Korakuen show, and we're going to talk about it in a little bit because they were the tag title match. Misa and Miko Aono was phenomenal. We're going to get into it. So I was like, as soon as you said it, I was like, yeah, hopefully.
That's why I brought it up.
Hopefully soon, because that's absolute magic. That is magic between those two. And you want to set up contenders for the title that is going to have great matches, draw money, and the heel, even though it's going to eat the L, you're going to elevate them, and then you're going to have great matches for our champion that is Miko Aono. So hopefully sooner than later. I think she's ready for a challenge. I want to see it between the Natsumi Shizuki and Misa Matsui. I think you have 2 credible challengers lined up. And you still have that Chika Goto thing that we kind of teased at the beginning of the new year. And that Chikagota versus Yuzuki match back at the Corkin show a few weeks ago was phenomenal, phenomenal. Hopefully soon, because they did make sure, and again, we're going to get into it when we talk about the Corkin show in a little bit. That was the best part of that match. And it really seemed like that they did that for a certain reason with Rob, because they let it linger. And Misa kind of got the better of Miko Ano on those exchanges, where maybe you can say something, you can put something behind that. But that's a match I definitely want to see, hopefully in Corkin Hall, and then for the red belt. Yeah, that's probably the match I want to see the most in Marigold over these next month or two, my friend.
Moving on, Hummingbird and Koki Amare versus Nagisa Nozaki. And Chiaki, of course, Chiaki and Nagisa Nozaki getting the win. But Koki Amare, after the match, wanting to team with Miko Ono to take the Twin Star Championships from Chiaki and Misa Matsu. Before we get into the challenge itself, Matt, what are your thoughts on this one?
Thoroughly enjoyed this match. Hummingbird is another one, and importantly, she's looking at the lights, eating the pin, not eating the lights.
Eating the lights, yes.
That'll be the next Marigold standard T-shirt. We picture me laying down, eating a light bulb.
Absolutely.
Like the one guy with Abdullah, whatever his name is, from Big Japan. Anywho, Hummingbird just fits in so well on certain things. We've noticed how much better she's gotten over the last 6 or 7 months because of all the time in the dojo. Like, she's crisp around certain things. She's not rushing and going through things too fast where she's off a half a step. Like, a lot of her fundamentals and basic have come a long way in such a short amount of time. It goes to show you what a great wrestler she is. Koki Amare just has aura for days and days and days. It's only a matter of time before we see a big push for Koki Amare, maybe possibly Rob winning the Dream Star in the summer. So, look forward to that. Nagisa and Chiaki, they do what they need to do. Bending, breaking the rules, getting proper heat on Hummingbird. Koki Amare's the hammer here. Koki Amare looks fantastic. But in the end, it looks like Hummingbird is going to be a little bit too fast for one Chiaki. She goes for that Hurricanrana, but Chiaki blocks it into the Liger Bomb for the 3 count. 3 1/4 stars. I thought this was a really smart way to start the show off, giving Darkness Revolution match 1, match 2 victories, building up heat on this show. So I really like the booking on match 1 and match 2. And again, this was a really, really fun match that Hummingbird, even though looking at the lights, was the MVP of this match for me.
Hummingbird's in a really interesting position, and we mentioned sort of Shino, we mentioned Yuki Yamazaki. Hummingbird is another one who could really benefit from these 3D Trios titles because, again, she's already challenged twice unsuccessfully for the Superfly title. It feels like she's sort of been cycled to the back of that Superfly title picture now. And I think the 3D Trios title might be the way to go for her, at least in the near future, because again, you don't want to waste the talent that she has, but also because of the style that she wrestles, I certainly don't see her challenging for either of Marigold's top 2 titles, at least not it. I'd be surprised if it's this year. And that's why these 3D Trios titles, and maybe it's a push the Twin Star titles as well. I think that's sort of the perfect spot for Hummingbird because, again, she is a very, very, very good wrestler. And actually, I thought her and Koki worked really well together as well. Moving on then, 6-woman tag match with Spunky Monster and Yuki Yamazaki getting a non-title victory over the champions. They would then put forward their name as future challengers for that title. Obviously, we know that that's happening now on the 29th of March. But Matt, if this is the appetizer to what we can expect on the 29th, how excited are you for that title match?
Literally took the words out of my mouth because it really seemed like they were holding something back. It really seemed like it didn't get to that other gear. You're at about 11 minutes and 30 seconds. You figure, what would this look like with an extra 5 or 6 minutes? That's what we're probably going to get come next week. But yes, this is absolutely the appetizer for the main course that we're going to get. This is just great booking. Non-title match. You have the challengers go over the champions. Like, hey, now we're the title match. So they took this one to a really high level, and when it's going to be a more important match. Again, the title's on the line next week. It's going to be even better. There was terrific stuff with Yuka and Natsumi Shozuki, as well as Shino and Natsumi, really kicking it up another notch. Seri Yamaoka works so well in this setting because There's 5 other wrestlers in these matches, but when it comes to Aura, she just steals the scene and everything she does. And when they put these matches together, they make sure that everybody kind of pans out a little bit so she can do everything that she does that is so good, so really appeasing to the eye. Like she is just so captivating in everything she does. And then you have Sakurai and Natsumi kind of as the hammer. Shino and Yuka, they work really well as a tag team. I've noticed, obviously, that we do have Spunky Monster. I'm not going to yell like you because that's your gimmick, brother, and I don't want to take away your gimmick.
Thanks,
Obviously,
man. Appreciate it.
Shino and Seri are the team here, but I've noticed in these 6-person tags that we have Yuka, they do this spot where Yuka catapults the wrestler, and then Seri just comes in and cuts them in half with the spear. I thoroughly enjoy that. Like that is something innovative. It's creative. It's a cool little segue there that we have with Yuka and Seri. Ultimately, is just Seri just using the Aoki clutch, using that got man's name quite a bit here on this episode, and rightfully so. Getting the 3 count on one Arina Yamaoka, 3 and 3/4 stars. Again, this was really good. It was just missing something, and now we know the reason why. They did that for a certain reason. That we're going to get more time on the championship match coming up on next Sunday. Good sir.
Looking ahead to that title match, obviously we have got a match to talk about from Korakuen. Looking ahead to that match, I don't want to see, certainly at the moment, Le'Veon Rose drop those titles. I think they are the perfect first champions. In your mind, and I know this is obviously looking ahead into the future, who would you like to see dethrone Le'Veon Rose when the time comes? Because again, I certainly don't think the time has come yet by any stretch.
You can use those belts to elevate a lot of different people, Rob. But as far as work rate goes, we're going to talk about it. The obvious choice for me is Team Mayu. Mayu, Yuzuki, and Kamomo are the best trio in this company. What they did in the tournament was terrific, in my opinion, as far as match quality goes. They were the MVPs. They were, and again, we're talking about the Cork and Hall show. They were unbelievable in their challenge. But does Mayu need another belt? Not really. Will it help Yuzuki out? Yuzuki is probably top 4, top 5 wrestler in this company. If anything, it'll help Kamomo out. It will help Kamomo out. So you want to kind of you want to elevate younger talent with those belts. So maybe the team is Seri, Shino, and Yuka when the time is right. That's a possibility. Obviously, we know Seri, she won the tag belts with Nanai when she first debuted. This would be great for Shino and great for Yuka. That's a possibility. However, Rob, there's something else you got to think about. There's a hot hand right now that's a champion in Megaton. So you got Megaton, Gigaton, and Hummingbird. I don't know the birdtons, the tauntaun birds, the birdtons. So there's a lot of answers, but again, it's all about when the time is right. When the time is right. Natsumi just came back from injury at the beginning of the year, and she's been lights out again. I'm so excited for that championship match that she has next Saturday. Sakurai has been doing the best work of her career since coming over from Marigold. Arina Yamaoka, we only seen a little bit here or there over the last 9 or 10 months at Marigold. It really seems like since this beginning of this year, she's on more of these Marigold shows. I know she left the company that she was with. Was it PPPW? Is that who
it
she
was? It was PPP Tokyo.
PPP Tokyo. So then she left that company. We've seen her doing more work for Marigold. They work fantastic as a trio. So yeah, when the time is right. Again, the short answer, Team Mayu, just because they are so good, and you can main event so many shows with that trio against, an Utami, a Kokiyamare. I mean, you can plug anybody in there. But it's all about, it's going to be time to elevate somebody. I would love to see, because it would be a great story when she comes back from injury, Kazuna Tanaka, Victoria Yuzuki, and maybe a Komomo Manami, just because everything that Kazuna Tanaka has been through with the back injuries and then now the ankle injury. Like, what a great story would that be for her to come back, win her first championship after, battling all these injuries with her best friend in one, Victoria Yuzuki, and then maybe a Komomo Manami or now Ishikawa. I think that would be a really great story somewhere down the pike when it is time for one Kazuna Tanaka to make her return.
I'm going to sort of respectfully disagree. Not because, again, those wrestlers aren't fantastic. You sort of hit the nail on the head in a way. I don't think Mayu needs another belt, and I think tying up 3 belts on Mayu sort of defeats the object of having more belts, because Mayu's not going to be able to defend both belts on a show. I think when the time is right, you put these belts on Chikagoto, Koki Amare, pardon me, maybe a hummingbird. Certainly Goto and Koki. Because again, I feel like you need to capitalize on what maybe Nagisa Takibana.
Ooh, that's a good. Oh, she's. I
So
have an
good.
idea. I have an idea where they should go for her. I texted you the other day. I was like, "This is printing money." We'll get into.
We're going
We'll
to
get
talk
into
about her in the main event, because between that main event and obviously, Korakuen and the announcement that she is sort of retiring, or graduating is the word, isn't it? Graduating from modeling and is focusing full time now on wrestling. The sky very much is the limit for Nagisa, and we're going to have a little bit of a conversation in a moment about her. But I think for Chikagoto and Koki Amare, if they aren't going to be the ones to take the Twin Star titles off of Misa and Chiaki, which, if it was me, I would have either Celine Flora take the belts off Chiaki and Misa, or I'd have the Tokyo Towers, the Twin Towers, sorry, take them off Chiaki and Misa. But basically, I want Chikagoto and Koki Amare with some sort of belt heading into the fall, maybe heading into the Dream Star. I don't think it'll be a singles title. I don't think it should be a singles title. I think Victoria Yuzuki and certainly Mika Wano don't need to be dropping those belts anytime soon. But a 3D trios or even a Twin Star Championship, certainly.
I do find it really interesting that Nagisa Takibana and myself are both retiring from modeling around the same time, Rob. I find that very interesting.
Absolutely. And I don't want to say Nagisa Takibana will have made considerably more money than you in the profession, but again, I think retire while you're hot, mate.
That's what it is. Leave the party earlier.
Absolutely. You don't want to overstay your welcome, do you? That's the issue. We have got the Shoko Casino trial series starting on this show. Obviously stuck on Mika Wano here. We've seen Rossi do this a lot in Stardom. I remember very vividly Unagi Sayaka's trial series, where she was absolutely pulverized pillar to post by the likes of Mayu. I think Julia had a go as well. Suri had one. Yeah, she got absolutely obliterated multiple times by different people. But I'm intrigued by the Shoko Casino one, because she's mid-card. I think that's fair to say. Marigold are quite obviously very, very hot on Shoko. They leaned very heavily during First Dream into the emotion of Shoko, the determination of Shoko, the sort of gutting through of Shoko. And I think what this trial series is going to do is highlight her as a main event talent, someone that can be pushed as, your white meat babyface at the top of the card. Because at the moment, it's all very well. You've got Utami, you've got Mayu, you've got Mika Wano. They aren't going to be around forever. You need to start blooding people, that are going to be at the top of this company. And Shoko Kishino is someone that clearly Marigold have got in mind for that, alongside Seri, alongside Victoria Yuzuki. And it's singles matches like this against the Crimson Red Belt champion that are going to showcase the best of Shoko Kishino. And I think between this, the Utami match we're going to talk about at Korakuen as well, you can see why Marigold have got a lot of interest in Shoko going forward.
Robbie, you hit a lot of points out of the park there, buddy. I'm enjoying this trial series with Shoko. You literally put her in there with Mika Wano and Utami, two of the hardest hitters and two of the best wrestlers in this company. I just want to talk about Mika Wano real quick. I've noticed this since she won that championship. It really seems like that even on these non-title matches, whether they're singles matches here or 6-person or tag, she's really carrying herself like as if she's carrying the company, almost like not on her back, but it's just like she knows how important that she is. And it seems like every little detail she's putting more into it, like whether it's her stuff, like if somebody else is on her team or she's across the ring. It seems like everything that she's doing is meaning more, which ultimately is getting her over, getting the company over, getting the champion over. She's carrying herself as the top champion of this company really well. I noticed that over the last 2 or 3 months. That's something that you've noticed, right? And again, not just the title matches, but like in this match, in the tag matches. And again, we'll talk about the tag match in Corkton. Really seems like she knows that she's in the prime position because she's carrying the big red belt. As much as we love Utami, and rightfully so, and Mayu, rightfully so, they're not the main champions of this company. Miko Wano is, and it really seems like she's presenting herself as that top star from the company.
Moving on very quickly to the main event, because I want to talk a lot about Nagisa and Takibana, as I'm sure you do as well. Have Marigold got a slight problem here? Because Nagisa Takibana might accidentally be turning into the future ace. Now, obviously, Victoria Yuzuki and Seri Yamaoka are the people positioned primarily to take that. You've got Shino, who's there. You've got Komomo Minami to a lesser extent. However, the crowd support for Nagisa Takibana, her performances when she is given the tap on the shoulder to be in these main events, even though it's arguable that she is in these main events to take the pinfall or eat the lights, as you would say. She's often one of the highlights in these matches. Now, if you put together that with the fact that she's going to be spending more time in the Marigold ring, retiring from modeling, graduating from modeling, I think Marigold have got a little bit of a problem, a good problem to have, because there is a lot of crowd support for Nagisa. And if she continues to develop at the rate she's developing, I'm really excited to see where we will be this time next year with Nagisa Takibana.
You throw that and look who she's in the ring with. Utami and Mayu, in my opinion, 1 and 1A in this company as far as star power and the best in the ring. Victoria Yuzuki is right up there, with Miko Ano. I think those are the top 4 stars. And Utami is obviously putting together her spots in a certain place that's going to make her shine the most. And Mayu, Yuzuki, and Komomo are doing the best job selling, especially when you have your big icon in Mayu and your secondary champion in Victoria Yuzuki. You're only going to get her over more. Mayu was great. Komomo was great. Obviously, Chico Goto is phenomenal. She connects with the crowd. Utami's a next level wrestler. The best parts of this match, Rob, were Victoria Yuzuki and Nagisa Takibana. You run that in a cork and where both these wrestlers are crazy over, or Shinjuku FACE, the more intimate setting, and give them 14, 15, 16 minutes just to go to show you what we have. I mean, Nagisa Takibana is somebody that's been getting over a little bit each and every match. She does some really cool stuff. She's putting the spots in places where they mean more. You can tell that the psychology is starting to get there. The strikes are starting to hit harder. The sellings there, she's starting to all put it together. And again, when you have great minds like a Rasi Ogawa, like a Mayu, like an Utami, to be like, hey, try this instead of this, or let's do this, or try that. Like just these little things are starting to click with her, and she's becoming more comfortable in her own skin. And she has that aura, that it factor, that's something that you just can't teach. That you can't teach. And then you have Victoria Yuzuki, who again can very well be in the next 3 or 4 years the best Joshi in all of wrestling, now in all of Japan, not just Marigold. Like there's a good possibility that Yuzuki is going to be a top 5, top 10 wrestler in Joshi in the next 2 to 3 years because she's that good. So you meld those marriages together, it's a win-win for everybody, because who's not going to pay to see that for the United National Championship? Again, you're absolutely right. It probably was something they weren't thinking about, like, because we're lining up a lot of challengers for Victoria Yuzuki, and it really seemed like a month ago that Nagisa Takibana wasn't even on the radar. And then you have this, and then you have this, the match we're going to talk about in a little bit, and you're like, you have gold right here. Like you have lightning in a bottle, and you need to strike while the iron's hot. You can't let it be something that people forget about. We talk about all the time about how in the fall or winter of last year, they teased the Maya versus Miyamoto match, and everybody was so adamant about it. And it kind of just went away. And then I understand, because you have different companies, Marvelous and Marigold. So it's just like, oh man, you had it right there. What happened? And hopefully sometime we get that match soon, Rob. But both these wrestlers are wrestling in the same company. They're on the same shows. You teased it here. It's money. This is printing money. And again, you know what you have with Mayu. We have it with Utami, because we've seen them before Marigold started with Stardom. Obviously, we know we got with Miko Ano, because she was the one that we all pointed to at the end of that very first Marigold show. We're like, wow, that is going to be the future of this company. She's now the champion. So now we're going to take somebody that is on the bottom to maybe the middle of the card, put her in a main event match against a special talent like Victoria Zuki, and let them tell their story. Let magic happen. Let Nagisa get to that spot. Now, do I think she's going to win? No. Maybe in a couple months, maybe they run it back. Maybe we've seen Rossio Gao do this constantly, through the years of booking and Stardom, and even here in Marigold, where somebody loses a championship match, they build themselves back up and then they win. So maybe it is something that maybe come towards the Dream Star, that Nagisa upsets Victoria Zuki and wins it. And then maybe that gives Victoria Zuki the win to win the Dream Star, then challenge for the red belt. It's a possibility. You're right. She's over. She's got aura. She's great in the ring. You're putting the ring with Victoria Zuki. Rob, that's the match I want to see almost as much as Miko Ano versus either Misa Matsui or Natsumi Shozuki. There are so many matches that they can build towards that is right there in front of them that I think they'll cash in. As far as this match goes, again, this was terrific. Mayu, Yuzuki, and Komomo, for me, that is the work rate trios team in Marigold. Utami and Chikagota, we've seen them on opposite ends. We saw them at first stream. And we've been seeing them tag up quite a bit. And then you're throwing in the great work from Nagisa Takabana. Again, I love this to really getting towards the end. Everybody kind of hitting the waterfalls. You do have Team Mayu with the triple dives as we're building this matchup. Nagisa counters the straightjacket German suplex into the Lamai Strat in the middle of the ring. And the way Yuzuki was selling it and the way that the ref was so close, the crowd bit into it that was going to be the finish. Unfortunately, it wasn't. We get the double super kick of Mayu and Victoria Yuzuki. Give me Mayu and Yuzuki versus the Young Bucks. That's a match I want to see. Over 100 on the super kicks route, by the way. A double super kick to Nagisa Takabana. That sets up Victoria Yuzuki for the straightjacket German suplex onto Nagisa for the 3 count. 4.25 stars, and I'll point out this, Rob. How did Yuzuki put away Nagisa? Yes, with the straitjacket German suplex, which is great, but she needed Mayu's help. She needed Mayu's help to put away Nagisa. That's something Nagisa can say, like, yeah, you pinned me in the middle of the ring. You had to have Mayu help me. I didn't have Utami come in and help me. You had to have Mayu come and help me. Try to do it when it's just me and you. That writes itself. And then it gets a little personal. Because then, we all know Yuzuki looks up to Mayu. We all, since the Stardom days, Yuzuki went to Stars because Mayu was there. So, like, we know she looks up. What if she's like, yeah, have your big sister bail you out in this one. When it's just me and you, can you get the job done? Put that down in that. Do a tag match where it's Yuzuki and Komomo versus Nagisa and anybody else, and have Nagisa beat Victoria Yuzuki and be like, yeah, you know why I won? Because you didn't have Mayu here. And then maybe after that, you get a Mayu versus Nagisa match. Dude, there's so much they can do. There is so much they can do from this. I'm all for it. I'm here for it. May as well podcast about it. And if you're not going to be here for it, I got a guy named Gerp Goodwin, buddy. He drinks the tea. He comes right in, buddy. He'll come right in. 4.25 stars again. Absolutely love this match. There's so much that Marigold can build from just from this one match.
It's funny you should mention the Dream Star, because I'm just looking at the entrance from last year's Dream Star Grand Prix. And obviously you've got Yuzuki, Utami, Mayu, Koki, Seri Yamaoka, Miko Ano, Mai Sakurai, Misa Matsui, Nagisa Nozaki, Chika Goto, who I would argue will absolutely, save for injury, will be in this tournament. And Chiaki. Sorry, I thought I'd said Chiaki. That leaves Maria, Ria Sato, Mirai, Chanyota, and maybe Kazuna Tanaka. Okay? Now, obviously, Natsumi Shozuki takes one of those spots. So that leaves 4 spots now. Now, Senkura Akatsuki was ill and couldn't be a part of this tournament. She was replaced with Maria. So maybe they put her in this tournament. Maybe they put Chanyota in this tournament. Let's say that one of those spots is given over to an outside person. You've then got 3 spots left for this Dream Star, unless they expand. Obviously, that's always an option. But for those 3 spots, I would argue that Nagisa Takibana and Komomo Minami are absolute shoo-ins to be in this tournament. They have to be, right? And then that leaves 1 spot for Kazuna Tanaka, Ria Sato, Hummingbird. I'd argue Ria Sato is a cert to be in this tournament as well, which arguably that leaves a lot of competition. I think Nagisa Takibana has to be in the tournament, and I think Komomo Minami has to be in the tournament.
Absolutely, because they're only going to get people are going to pay to see them, and they're only going to get better by being in this tournament. It's a win-win. It's what you want with tournament wrestling. We mentioned it on the Stardom Cast, the Cinderella tournament. Look at all the wrestlers that were elevated in that tournament. So even with without winning. So yeah, you're right. Now let's expand, because you have to think about. You mentioned a lot of names. You mentioned two names. You forgot two names: Megaton.
Yep.
And Kevin Nash. Like,
absolutely.
I mean,
sure.
Who doesn't want to see Kevin Nash and Chica Goto go at it? You know what I mean?
Probably Kevin Nash.
Because she does the finger thing, and we know Kevin Nash is his kryptonite is the finger point of doom.
Absolutely. There you
go. So much here, buddy.
Looking ahead, then, let's go to Korakuen Hall. And again, it was a fairly successful Marigold show from Korakuen. 14th of March, night 2 of the Spring Victory Series. The announced attendance, 758 people. Now, this is a 15.31% decrease on the previous attendance Marigold drew to the venue, which was 895 on the 23rd of February, though it is worth noting that that show on the 23rd had a Crimson Red Belt match, which was also a hair versus hair match, and a match for the Pure White title. So this, yes, did less, but it was main evented by the brand new 3D Trios title, which arguably is a really good thing for those belts, okay? It shows that they are still going to draw with those belts, which I think is really important moving forward. Obviously, a couple of things to note heading into this. Marigold rookie AI makes her pro wrestling debut on this show against Yuka Yamazaki. We've also got the debut of foreigners Maddy Morgan and Angel Hayze. Maddy Morgan is 18 years old and has wrestled primarily in the UK, save for a match in Germany's WXW. She's a two-time Lancashire Wrestling Federation Women's Champion. Angel Hayze, meanwhile, is a 9-year veteran from Scotland, has held multiple titles across the likes of TNT, ICW, British Empire Wrestling, and she actually unsuccessfully challenged for the OTT Women's Championship against Marigold alumni Myla Grace. So there you go. And if you recognize her, it might be because of the handful of dates she had for NXT UK in 2021 and 2022. Looking ahead at the results, then, we open with a singles match. Yuka Yamazaki defeating the debuting AI with a single-legged Boston Crab in 7 minutes and 35 seconds. Three-way match, Nagisa Takibana defeated Shino and Hummingbird. Nagisa Takibana rolling up Hummingbird with a La Magistral Cradle in 5 minutes and 46 seconds. In a match that is going to get lost in this review, and I hope not, because it was fantastic. Seri Yamaoka defeated Rhea Sato in singles action with the Aoki Clutch in 10 minutes and 26 seconds. Tag team action, the team of Maddy Morgan and Angel Hayze made a winning start to life in Marigold, defeating Chica Goto and now Ishikawa. Maddy Morgan hitting a picture-perfect moonsault in 6 minutes and 32 seconds. Shoko Kishino's 7-match trial series continues to go horribly wrong. She lost to Utami Hayashishita here after being pinned with the torture rack bomb in 8 minutes and 28 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, in the Independent World Junior Championship match, Megaton, having lost her last 26 singles matches in a row, including 3 in a row to Kuroshio, Tokyo, Japan on the 3rd of January in 2026 at First Stream. We were there, Matt. Having only won 3 singles matches over the course of her entire Marigold career, she overcame the odds. And she pinned Kuroshio, Tokyo, Japan with a cradle pin in 9 minutes and 24 seconds to become the brand new, the 50th, in fact, independent world junior champion. And basically, that is where we should have ended the show, because how on earth do you follow that? Well, the truth is, with a Twin Star Championships match, the Darkness Revolution team of Misa Matsui and Chiaki retained their belts by defeating Miku Ano and Koki Amare, with Chiaki pinning Goki with the diving guillotine leg drop in 17 minutes and 51 seconds. Your main event was the 3D Trios Championship matches. Le'Veon Rose, Natsumi Shozuki, Mai Sakurai, and Rina Yamanaka making their first successful championship defense against Mayu Iwatani, Victoria Yuzuki, and Komomo Minami, with Natsumi Shozuki pinning Komomo with her Meteora Aura, she calls it. There you go. In 13 minutes and 13 seconds. Let's start with the opener, Matt, and we have new blood in Marigold. AI has come through the Marigold dojo without a sports background. Apparently, went into the dojo at the same time as Yuka Yamazaki. Obviously, debuts against Yuka here. Interesting look. What were your thoughts, A, on the look, and B, on how she fared against the Mad Dog of Naniwa?
Really cool look. Kind of stands out a little bit. Very much like a Mortal Kombat video game style character.
That's what I thought of straight. I think it's the mask. Straight away, I was like, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, there you go. This was a nice basic match. I mean, you have Yuka, who's only been wrestling like a year, just turned 19. So it's tricky for her to lead a match, but they kept it simple. It was basics, the arm drags, the fundamentals, going a little over 7 minutes was a really good time for this to go. Again, interesting having Yuka. I'm pretty much almost like a rookie of herself leading this match, but Yuka did a really good job leading AI.
Did a really good job, yeah.
AI did a good job following. Ultimately, it's just Yuka working over the back and the knee, forcing AI to tap out to the half crab. 3.25 stars, a good start to the career of one AI, which I believe now goes by Lady AI.
That's what it seems to be coming through as on the translations on social media. The graphics just say AI. The ones that have been shown today or have been announced today still say just AI. So I'm going to call her AI until I get told otherwise.
Okay, because I just want to bring it real quick. Do you have room in your life for another Joshi wrestler being named Lady and then a letter? Like,
No.
Do you have room? Yeah, that's what I thought.
As long as AI doesn't start coming out wearing chaps, I think we're all right.
I threw it right your way, buddy. You knew where
absolutely,
I was going.
Absolutely. I was intrigued to see, obviously, the mask that AI wears covers her mouth, and it's quite a unique look in that regard. That can't be comfortable to wrestle in. Now, I know there's holes, obviously, but it can't be comfortable. And obviously, once she's wrestling longer matches, that's going to be really, really uncomfortable to wrestle in, surely.
I'll say this, Rob, myself and Andy did the tag match during COVID era. We had to go down, was it Maryland or Delaware? We drove quite a bit to get to this show. And when we got there, they were like, the athletics commission here, you guys have to wrestle in mask. So literally, I was like 4 minutes in, we're running our crazy spots. And I was just like, it was so uncomfortable and I was tough catching my breath that I was like, I don't care if I get fined, that the mask is coming off. And nobody said anything. So yes, it is very uncomfortable to wrestle in that style of mask, but God bless her. Better wrestler than me, I'll tell you that. Better person than me.
Yeah, it's like you said, it was a basic match, but she did the basics well, which is all that we can ask of,
Sure.
Of a rookie, certainly. Moving on, then we had a three-way match: Hummingbird, Nagisa Takibana, and Shino. Nagisa Takibana stealing the victory somewhat after Shino did the vast majority of the work. But this was a fun little three-way match, even if it did only go a shade over 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was almost like they knew their assignments. Like, hey, 5 to 6 minutes, go and get this crowd ready to go. It was boom, boom, boom. Everybody hit their real big spots, and Nagisa's really great at it. So is Hummingbird. Hummingbird is a really interesting way I've noticed these last few shows of getting into the European clutch. It's almost like she goes the opposite way, but still ends up in the pin. I have no idea how she does it. Again, Hummingbird is another one of these wrestlers I expect big things from in the next year or so. Shino, again, 16, 17 years old. It's just doesn't seem fair.
All the charisma in the world.
Yeah, everything. I mean, the hard hitting, the kicks. I mean, understanding, know where she needs to be, especially in a three-way with two wrestlers that work a different style. They hit all the beats here, but at the end, it's the Nagisa show, and rightfully so, because I think she's the wrestler they need to strap the rocket to. 3.5 stars. They made this work in a short amount of time that they had.
Brand new blue hair as well for Nagisa Takibana, which
That
we know
always
from
helps.
Tomoka Inaba is the source of all their power. Moving on then, Seri Yamaoka and Rhea Sato. This was absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love this match. For a start, I absolutely love this new look that Rhea Sato's got going on. I love the big, long-fingered gloves. I think she looks really good. I think she is embracing this heel persona, and also she's working it really well in the ring. And what we got was a really ground-based, submission-based match. Absolutely brilliant, beautifully executed, and honestly, I'm just trying to think, was it my match of the show? It was up there. It was certainly up there. And again, these are both youngsters who are sort of embedded in that Marigold youth movement that we talk a lot about. Yeah, I'm all for this. This was great.
Rhea Sato, I get Edward Scissorhands vibes, Rob, with the gloves. I don't know what it is, and I haven't seen that movie. It's got to be.
It makes me think of what's the film with David Bowie? Pan's Labyrinth. The guy with the eye in his hands.
Oh man, that's another movie I haven't seen since I can't tell you how long. It
freaked the hell out of me when I was a child. That character.
Man, so Rhea Sato is now Pan's Labyrinth. So Rhea Sato will freak you out now. Now
that's
we know.
What it is. As long as she doesn't do this with the hands and there be eyes on the other side of a mask, on the other side of a gloves, we're all good.
I can't wait for our next backstage passes. I'm going to be like, all access pass. I'm like, we got to rib Rob. Anywho, yeah, this match was great. We've seen these two wrestle, whether singles matches or tag matches, quite a bit over the last 5 or 6 years, 5 or 6 months. Similar styles with the grounded wrestling. That is right up my alley. Rhea Sato getting the advantage as we build towards the end of the match, really working over Seri's knee. And you knew Seri was going to get the win here, but like how Seri had to do it. She's fighting back from adversity with Rhea really cranking on the knee from Seri. Seri hits a big spear, but can't follow up right away. So then she has to go to the gut wrench suplex and the Aoki clutch. So even though Rio eating the L here, she controlled like 60-65% of the match.
She was in control for a lot of it, yeah.
Seri, for only wrestling 14-15 months, is a really underrated seller. Did a great job getting Rhea over. And again, finish of the match was spear, gut wrench, suplex, Aoki clutch. So Seri had to chain those 3 moves together in order to get out with a win. So I like that there. 3 3/4 stars. My only complaint was I wish it would have went a little bit longer. Really seemed like as if the crowd was getting sucked in. They went and took it home. 10 minutes still is a lot of time, on an underneath card match. But again, I would love to see them go 13, 14, 15 minutes because their chemistry really seems to work well with each other.
Obviously, here we saw the debut or the Japanese debut of Maddy Morgan and Angel Hayze. Obviously, the Japanese crowd, no idea who they were. Again, why would they? I think they worked and most importantly got the crowd really on side in the space of this almost 7-minute match. I think a lot of that to do was with Maddy Morgan's athleticism. Obviously, the standing moonsault and the moonsault to finish the match. Very, very, very impressive. I thought Maddy had some really good chemistry with Chika Goto as well. Maddy taking the giant swing like an absolute champ. What were your thoughts on this, Matt?
It's kind of interesting. You have foreign talent coming over. You're debuting them in Korakuen Hall against 2 wrestlers that are really over in Korakuen Hall and Chika Goto, now Ishikawa. You're getting them the win there, which is great. Great way to debut them.
Yeah.
But you're doing it less than 7 minutes. Like you're not giving them enough time to flesh out their story. But one thing if it was a singles, but you have 4 wrestlers in this match and a tag team you're trying to get over, I would at least give them another 2.5 minutes. Regardless, I still enjoyed the match. You're right, Chika Goto and the Maddy Morgan stuff I thought was really kind of the highlight of this match. Now Ishikawa is, again, she's another one that is terrific. The one thing I do want to point out, I could have this wrong, Rob, but even though Julie had left the company a little over a year ago, still helping out the talent of Marigold, because probably pointing them in the tan direction. Because Maddy Morgan and Angel Hayze, their tan game on a scale of 1 to 10 was a 14. Absolutely terrific. Really, really terrific. But you're right, they did a great job interacting with the crowd, considering they came out and got next to no reaction. But by the end, and again in 7 minutes, which is tough to do, everybody knew who they were. And I think Goto and now Ishikawa did a great job getting them over. 3.5 stars. I'm really excited to see what Maddy Morgan and Angel Hayze do on this tour. And I really like this kind of makeshift team of Chika Goto and now Ishikawa. That is a team that works out. You mentioned Chika Goto and Koki Amare and somebody else for the 3D titles. Why not now Ishikawa?
Why not now Ishikawa? Yeah,
she's over.
Absolutely.
She's over.
Yeah, I mean, also it's worth pointing out here that Sonny on commentary, we do need to talk about the commentary team because they were a man down. He brought up that it was actually Kairi who pointed Rossi Ogawa into the direction of Angel Hayze to bring her over. So quite the endorsement for Angel Hayze there. Yeah, just obviously with us bringing up the commentary team, it was Tom Fain and Sonny Gutierrez on commentary. No Stu Fulton on this show. How do you think they did, and what was their chemistry like? Do you think?
They were really good. I thought Tom did a good job taking the lead. He did a really good job taking the lead, and obviously Sonny was giving him beats to work off. Sonny's been doing commentary for Marigold, I think, since the first show. I think since the very first show. So I thought Sonny did a great job feeding him lines, and Tom did a really good job basically taking the direction that Sonny had them going. You can tell these two do their homework. So I thought this team was really well. I know that Stu Fulton's been really busy on other aspects. I do see him tweeting out he's doing a lot of MMA, boxing, kickboxing. So maybe that's where he was. But I'd like to see Tom on commentary more, whether it's just the two of them or whether it's a trio. Obviously, Stu Fulton he's the best. He's one of the best commentators in all of wrestling and a busy guy. Holy jeez, considering the fact that he does Marigold, he does Noah, he's doing, I think, Pancrase, he's doing a lot of stuff there. So a busy guy. But if they can't get Stu Fulton in, plug Tom Fain in, because I think it just really works. It's only going to help Tom out getting more reps with Marigold. And again, Sonny, who just knows everything, knows the backgrounds really well, knows the backgrounds where the wrestlers came from, whether it was Ice Rebrin, whether it was Actress, whether it was Stardom. And again, Sonny does a great job of making sure that everything is tightened up on the commentary. I thought I think it's the first time it's just been the two of them. Since this was their first outing, I thought they hit a home run.
Shoko Kashino and Utami Hayashishita, then the second, as we mentioned, of Shoko Kashino's 7-match trial series. These two have a very similar style, and it's a style that I vibe with massively. I thought that Shoko Kashino took a lot of the grit and determination that she showed in the Victoria Yuzuki match and brought that to the Utami match here. Though it was interesting that Utami was not dismissive of Shoko Kashino, but was loath to give her more respect than she deserved, I thought, especially at the end of the match, Matt.
I like how Shoko tried to start off fast on Utami, and Utami's like, check my resume. Like, Shoko's just
Do you know who I am?
Do you know who I am? Utami hits comes back with the big dropkick in the air raid crash, and then just starts grinding down on Shoko. And you're like, oh, Shoko.
Shoko.
We get a top rope fight between the two. Shoko actually wins the top rope fight and then locks the abdominal stretch onto Utami on the top rope, which is a really cool visual. And again, I mentioned this quite a bit. I'm going to mention again. Utami, a main eventer in this company, is so unselfish. Whether she's wrestling another main eventer, somebody in the middle of the card, a rookie, she makes sure that person gets over, which in turn gets the match over. Shoko hits a big step up in Saguri, and then we have a lariat off, which not a lot of people, including one King Kong and or Godzilla, can go toe-to-toe with Utami Hayashishita in the lariat off, but Utami makes sure she gets over Shoko's lariat. Shoko hits a cutter and then a short arm lariat, which Utami sells really well for a 2.9 count. Shoko goes to the top rope, but no water in the pool, misses the top rope slash. Utami then launches Shoko one side of the ring to the other with that German suplex. And I love this finish. Utami goes for the torture rack bomb. However, Shoko escapes the torture rack bomb with a roll up red 2.9 count. Kind of got a couple people in Cork and Hall on the edge of their seats. But then as Shoko turns around from that, Utami just paces Shoko with a lariat. And then Utami goes back to the torture rack bomb that she tried to hit about 30 seconds earlier. And that is the move that puts away one Shoko Kashino. This was a really terrific match. 4 stars for me. Again, Utami did a great job selling and putting over Shoko stuff. Ultimately, it's just Utami, just that huge lariat in the torture rack bomb, getting another win for the Red Queen in one, Utami Hayashishita.
Matt Turner.
You just bumped up with pride.
Did you, at any point in the last 6 months, think we will be doing a podcast where I would say, and new, and we will be talking about Megaton? I mean, honestly, There's a couple of things I want to say about this match. First of all, I'm going to start seriously because there was a lot of people at ringside who were very visibly made up for Megaton. Seri Yamaoka was in tears. And again, I know this is comedy match. I know in the grand scheme of Marigold, the Independent World Junior Championship doesn't mean a great deal in terms of Marigold, in terms of the Marigold title hierarchy. But for Megaton to get this clearly means a lot to her and means a lot to the roster. And you get people online, and, you know, everyone is entitled to an opinion, obviously, who don't get Megaton. And I'll be perfectly honest, when she first debuted, I didn't get Megaton.
Same here.
It was a comedy act from someone who isn't the best in-ring worker. And I was like, what is this? It's not just about in-ring. And the person that sort of it makes me think of is R-Truth. Now, R-Truth is obviously very talented in-ring, but more, and when there was that whole to do when he was released, not released, and, you know, whatever happened there, people were absolutely outraged when he was released backstage. Not because he's going for the World Championship, not because he's going to be main eventing WrestleMania, not because he's going to be winning the Royal Rumble, but because of his presence backstage. And that is what Megaton provides for a lot of people in Marigold. Seri Yamaoka has said she sees Megaton as this big sister. We know how close Megaton is with Mika Wano for their fantastic skits on YouTube. It's her presence and the vibe that she brings backstage and the togetherness that she can bring backstage that's so important for the Marigold roster. Yes, she's not going to have a 5-star match, although we might differ on what we thought of this match. Sure. Okay. She might never have a match that we're like, oh my God, go out of your way to see this match. But that is not what Megaton is for. She's massively over with a live crowd. But again, it's not about that. It's about the impact that she has backstage as well. And I think that is worth a lot more than Megaton in the ring. Now, that being said, her getting this victory, as I've said, is an incredible moment for her. She was clearly completely overwhelmed with having won this championship. I thought for all of his stalling, Kushio Tokyo Japan was fantastic in this match. He played the arrogant heel so well. And Matt, I don't know if you've ever seen Wayne's World.
What? Yes.
Right. Don't you dare come at me like that when you haven't seen Jurassic Park. You can expect me to be. You haven't
seen The Godfather, and you're talking to and you're going to Italy soon. You might have to go. They may check your passport and then be like, okay, now here's a quiz on The Godfather.
It's on your visa.
yeah, you're gonna have to see. So don't come at me that I didn't see Jurassic Park, where you didn't see a movie that came out 20 years earlier.
People are more affronted that you have not seen Jurassic Park than me seeing Godfather.
Folks, all right, let's rank these. What is more offensive? That now I have seen Jurassic Park, but before Japan, I haven't seen Jurassic Park. Hold on, let me finish. The fact that Rob hasn't seen any of the Godfather movies, or the fact that I like Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. So let's rank those.
Egregious.
Let the fans decide. Anywho, go ahead. We're on this match.
Oh yeah. The grin on Kushio Tokyo Japan's face, it was so Garth from Wayne's World. It was every time he smiled, it was just Garth going, I like to play. And it just reminded every single time. Now, of course, the match is 9 minutes. The entire segment takes about an hour because Kushio Tokyo Japan's entrance takes about an hour. Now, of course, the live crowd is really into it, apart from one guy. There is one guy on the hard cam side who cannot stand this man. Just booing him when he gets into the crowd and starts getting everyone to dance and stuff. There's one guy in a hat, absolutely hates him, booing him in his face, telling him to get back in the ring. And then as soon as he gets back in the ring, he starts clapping. And then Kushio Tokyo Japan, again, it's absolute carnage. It's a car crash in the best possible way because everyone in Corrigan Hall is absolutely loving it. Is this a match I'm going to tell you to go out of your way to see? No, absolutely not. Are there massive gaping holes in the logic of this match for Megaton, who has been eating pinfalls from basically every single move that you could possibly think of, and suddenly she turns into Primo Carter and kicks out of absolutely bloody everything? Yes, of course there is. But ultimately, that's not what this is about. It's a comedy match. You know, you do have to suspend disbelief to a certain degree. Do I think there was a few too many moves that Megaton kicked out of? Yes. That's beside the point. The fact that she got the win with the exact roll-up she ended up losing 3 matches in a row to Kuroshio Tokyo Japan at First Dream, I think, was a nice touch. Overall, the moment of her winning was a really cathartic moment, and to see how much it meant to the Marigold roster who were seconding her ringside, a great moment, really good. And plus, you could see Rossi Ogawa really struggling to not laugh during Kuroshio Tokyo Japan's entrance. He was absolutely loving it.
This match was all over the place because it was like 6 or 7 minutes in, between the entrances. Like, we decided Tommy and Shoko was great. Like, the whole show was great, and we knew, the next few matches coming. So I was like, all right, this will be, a quick one. We'll get the comedy in between the entrance, and then like 6 or 7 minutes into the actual match, I was like, for the love of God, take this home. Oh my God, for the love of God, take this home. And then all of a sudden the falsies started coming, and the crowd started getting involved, and they started getting more involved. Then I started getting more involved. And I literally went from, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 0. Like, please, for the love of, and then they were taking it's one of the things, wait to the end, and then it built, and it was great. And they got me, and they got the crowd. And considering there's not many once a match hits absolute 0 for me, I'm like, it's 9.5 times out of 10, that's it, I'm done. It's a dud rating, a 3 if I'm in a good mood. But they got me back. They got me involved with Megaton constantly kicking out, and the fact Tokyo Japan was selling it and Megaton was firing up. And I'm like, okay, like, now I'm involved. Granted, maybe the worst suplex I've ever seen in 40 years of wrestling happened in this match, but I didn't care because the crowd was so involved. And they wind up getting me. And again, Rob, considering at minute 7, I'm like, yeah, this is a 0. And I wind up giving it a 3.5 because the crowd was that involved, and the emotion goes to show you that it's just like, just wait. You have to wait to the end. Wait to the end of the ride before you jump out of the car, because that's an ouchie that you don't want. This was fun. This was entertaining. They got me towards the end. Really, really great timing and psychology. Again, 3.5 stars. Now, you're absolutely right. This isn't the Malenko Guerrero Classic. This isn't Misawa versus Kawada. It's something different. You mentioned before, Megaton is a different wrestler. Megaton was a great wrestler. She wouldn't stick out the way that she does because guess what? This company has next level wrestlers. Mayu, Utami, Yuzuki, Mei Sakurai, Miko Ano, Natsume Shozuki, so on and so on and so forth. Where Megaton is shtick, she's funny, she's somebody that stands out. And I thought this was a really fun match. So again, all the credit in the world goes to these two, considering, again, 7 minutes in, I was like, oh boy. And then those last 2 minutes, I was like on the edge of my seat. Again, just goes to show you, folks, just wait and see what you get, because you can get nice, really cool endings like we did here, and in a match that we might be talking about. I probably won't go back and watch it, but it might be something in conversation. Like, remember that big Megaton win, snapping the win streak in Cork and Hall? It's something that we'll remember for quite a bit. At the end of the day, as much as I like great matches, which I do, it's moments like this that you remember for a while.
Moving on then to our semi-main event, the Reign of Darkness Revolution continues. Misa Matsui and Chiaki continuing their championship reign and defeating Miko Ano and Koki Amare, Matt Turner. They've become, in the process of this, the most successful Twin Star champions in terms of title defenses, with 5, which is impressive in itself. Nobody has won more Marigold tag team matches 2-on-2 than Chiaki. She's won 47 now out of her 72 matches. Misa Matsui has won 40 of her last 65. So absolutely imperious in this championship reign. Even though I want Koki to hold a title at some point. I'm not ready to see Darkness Revolution drop these twin star titles. I think they've been doing phenomenal work with them. And actually, Chiaki, who, when Marigold started and even in its first year, we saw Chiaki as a serviceable hand. I think this has been the absolute making of her. Between that and becoming Bald Chiaki, which is a vibe and it works for her, I think this team is absolutely phenomenal. Misa Matsui and Chiaki.
And they're great heels. Like, they're old
They're
school heels with the
fantastic heels. Yeah,
psychology.
they are.
And Misa does a lot of really cool stuff, but she knows how to bring it back to being a heel. I do like how we have the teamwork starting off with Misa and Chiaki, because obviously they team more than Miko Ano and Koki Amare. That really starts to heat onto Miko Ano. And you're playing off a little bit of the main event from the last Cork and Hall show, which was title versus hair with Ano and Chiaki. So you have that vibe. Koki Amare comes with a hot tag, and she's the hammer. With the clotheslines, the slams, the boots. Again, she's another one. Aura for days. Then we kind of get back to Misa and Miko Ano. We talked about this earlier. We get a top fight between the two, which we have Misa get the better of. Misa hits the Tree of Woe double stomp, and then that beautiful flying knee, scoring her 2 count onto one Miko Ano. The teamwork towards the end of this match with Miko Ano and Koki really started clicking, because Miko and Koki Amare do a wheelbarrow into a cutter onto one Miko Ano, or not onto Misa Matsui. Miko Ano hits a buzzsaw kick, and then onto Misa Matsui. And then we do have Misa. She comes back with the super kick and the MK driver, the Misa Kawaii driver, onto Miko Ano for the 2 count. However, because that's her big finisher, that she didn't kick out. Miko Ano didn't kick out. Koki Amare had to make the save. Which, again, there's a story there if they go with Misa and Miko Ano. Misa can say, like, I had you beat in the middle of the ring if it wasn't for Koki Amare. So that's a match, again, I really think they can run back. Koki Amare comes in again. Koki Amare was a hammer in this match. Koki Amare bailing out the world champion quite a bit in this match, which is, again, is a story that they can go to. Koki Amare hits a huge spine buster and a lariat to Chiaki. We do see suplex and a missile dropkick combination to Chiaki. I thought that was really terrific teamwork from the challengers. And then we do see that Koki Amare hits the Hammer Fist butterfly to Chiaki. 1, 2. Where did the ref go, Rob? Where did the ref go? He gets pulled out of the ring. Miko Ano goes nuts. She tries to beat up every member of Darkness Revolution. Next thing you know, we got every member beating up Miko Ano. And then to add insult to injury, as the late great Gorilla Monsoon would say, Misa Matsui hits this insane double stomp off the apron to the floor. Rob, I say this all the time. That floor has no give. No give whatsoever. Miko Ano was planted into that floor in Cork and Hall. I thought that was a great way to take Miko Ano out for this match. We get some more double teamwork onto Koki Amare. That opens up the door for Chiaki to hit the Liger Bomb in the top rope leg drop, putting away Koki Amare, giving Misa and Chiaki another successful title defenses as the Twin Star champions. 4 1/4 stars for me. And as great as this match was, for me, Rob, the big story coming out of this is Misa versus Miko Ano. Run it for the red belt in this building for Miko Ano to get her revenge.
Finally, we have the first defense of the 3D Trios title, with Le'Veon Rose successfully defeating Mayu Iwatani, Kamomo Minami, and Victoria Yuzuki. We often say that no one does 6 women tags or multi-women tags like Joshi, and this was another example of that, Matt Turner.
Yeah, team the ladyship. They try to jump Mayu, and then that doesn't turn out well because Yuzuki and Kamomo make the save, and then we get like the Stars style offense from Mayu, Yuzuki, and Kamomo on Arena Yamaoka. I'm like, I've seen this somewhere before, Rob. I have seen this somewhere before. And then we do see Arena. She gets a little segue here with Kamomo Minami. Arena with the Muda lock, which her Muda lock is, I don't think, very much like Soriano. I don't think she has a back. Like, so it's just like the flexibility from Marina Yamaoka is really fantastic. We do see Mai Sakurai, Natsume Suzuki. Then they come in off the Muda lock and have poor Kamomo Minami in a double armbar. So not only is her neck being stretched by Arena, but then Sakurai and Natsumi are putting double Fujiwara arm bars into Kamomo Minami. Ref, break it up. There's 3. It's 3-on-1. You can't have that. Can't have that. We get heat on Komomo Manami. Komomo eventually ends the heat with a big drop kick, tags in Victoria Yuzuki, and then Victoria Yuzuki, I mean, she was just chomping at the bit to get in here. The satellite head scissors, the drop kick, the missile drop kick, the basement drop kick. I mean, Yuzuki's just like all over the place in the best way possible. Again, maybe my favorite wrestler in this company, which is saying something considering you have Mayu and Utami. I just love watching Victoria Yuzuki. She is such a special talent here. Yuzuki hits the judo throw and then the Iron Cross Northern Light suplex onto Natsumi Shozuki. And then we get this Natsumi Shozuki and Victoria Yuzuki segue, which is terrific. If they want to go Natsumi versus Yuzuki as well, I'm all for that. Again, Rob, there's a lot of potential matchups that Marigold has on their hand that they can stretch out between now and when the leaves fall in the middle of the fall. And I am all for it. Mayu comes in, evasion drop kick, the Arabian press arm, double arm drag. But then we do see Arina Yamaoka and Natsumi Shozuki double team onto Mayu, which I like. Mayu's obviously the big star, the big threat in this match. Let's try to do a little divide and conquer, a little 2-on-1 to get advantage onto Mayu. And then we get a little heat on Mayu, and then we get tagged in Komomo Manami, which I liked how Komomo had the majority of the end of this match because she was the one that took the heat in the beginning. So she needs to have a comeback towards the end, kind of to get her revenge and make her look really good. Komomo Manami hits the big top rope crossbody. We do have Komomo and Yuzuki with that double pump knee strike, which we've seen them hit quite a bit. Komomo and Yuzuki thoroughly enjoy that. Eventually, though, we have everybody going to the floor. Arina Yamaoka hits a beautiful, beautiful post dive. And then Mai Sakurai hits the STK onto Komomo Manami. And as Komomo's coming up, Natsumi comes off the ropes a million miles an hour with a meteor scoring a 2 count. But here comes Mayu Utani hitting a super kick that opens up the door for Komomo for the Komomo clutch. Almost new champions. People bid on that. So did I, Rob. I thought we were going to have a quick title change here. I really liked Mayu with the super kick. Again, it's like, hey, let me help you out. Komomo almost getting the win there. We get towards the end, just we have a 3-on-2 advantage with Sakurai, Natsumi, and Arina pretty much taking out Mayu and Yuzuki. That opens up the door from pretty much bombs from above on poor Komomo Manami. Natsumi with 2 buzzsaw kicks, Mai Sakurai with the Goodwin elbow drop, and then Natsumi with the top rope knee bomb for the 3 count. A really great main event and a fantastic show, 4.25 stars for me.
And of course, we do know now as well that obviously Natsumi Shozuki challenged Mayu Iwatani for both her titles. Mayu wanted none of it. So, of course, that's now happening at Shinjuku FACE, as we've already mentioned. And, of course, the new challengers to the 3-day Trios Championships will be Spunky Monster and Yuki Yamazaki on the 29th of March. Before we go, we have got one more show to talk about. Chika Goto Homecoming Show, Night 3 of the Spring Victory Series from the 15th of March from the Sunpearl Arakawa in Tokyo, an attendance of 535. It's the second time the company has run the venue, with the number being an 8.23% decrease on their previous house. 583, by the way, that previous house for Chika Goto's previous homecoming show, which was a part of the 2025 Dreamstar Grand Prix in August. The results then: Naoya Ishikawa defeated AI with a spine bomb in 7 minutes and 29 seconds. You wait for so long for a Megaton victory and then 2 come along in 2 shows. She wins a 3-way match, not only pinning one person, but pinning both Komomo Minami and Yuki Yamazaki with a double pin in 10 minutes and 32 seconds. In a tag team match, Natsumi Shozuki and Arina Yamanaka defeated Koki Amare and Nagisa Takibana. Natsumi Shozuki pinning Nagisa with the running Samato in 8 minutes and 50 seconds. Tag team match, Spunky Monster Seri Yamaoka and Shino defeated Miko Ano and Hummingbird. Seri Yamaoka getting the win over Hummingbird with the German suplex in 11 minutes and 50 seconds. 6-woman tag match, Mai Sakurai, Maddie Morgan, and Angel Hayze defeated the Darkness Revolution of Nagisa Nozaki, Misa Matsui, and Ria Sato, with Angel Hayze getting the win over Ria Sato with a neck breaker drop in 10 minutes and 53 seconds on what was apparently a giant inflatable fish on a pole match. And then a tag team main event for Mayu Iwatani and Victoria Yuzuki defeating Utami Hayashishita and Chika Goto in Chika Goto's special homecoming match. Yuzuki pinning Gochika with a cross-armed suplex in 22 minutes and 41 seconds. Matt, we talked about AI and how she fared against Yuka Yamazaki. How do you think she fared against Naoya Ishikawa here?
Almost more of the same. Again, basic match, but a lot of this was now kind of just beating up AI, like making, hey, let's work on the selling, work on your fire, work on your comeback here. I like the Yuka match a little bit better. She's got the basics down, the fundamentals, and she's for only her second match and having a mask, she's able to moat selling, which is really a kind of a victory in itself. But ultimately, it's just too much now. Ishikawa hitting that version of the spine buster. 3 stars for me, my friend.
Megaton. Megaton, my friend. Again, they're like London buses. You wait for so long for one to arrive and then suddenly two come along at once. Apparently, the confidence of becoming the independent world junior champion has worked well for Megaton.
How funny would it be if, like, on the next 3-way, it's Megaton, now Ishikawa, and Hummingbird, and then Megaton gets a double pin there, and then she gets, like, really cocky, and then it's like it's her versus Chiaki and Misa, and she gets a double pin there, and then it's Megaton's like, "Oh, I got this," and like, "Okay, we got you." Megaton then versus Mayu and Miko Ano or something like, "No, I don't got this." They should build up her getting double pins in 3 ways, and then they feed her like the main eventers, and she just gets slaughtered. That would be
It'd
something.
work. It'd work.
Yeah. I mentioned before, I think the wrestler that has the best chemistry with Megaton, not only from an in-ring aspect, but from a comedy aspect, is one Yuka Yamazaki. Again, 19 years old. The fact that she's able to do those 2 styles of match with Megaton goes to show you what a really special wrestler Yuka is. Kamo Minami was terrific. They weaved in the Megaton stuff. Was fun. The best parts of this match, obviously, for me, was Yuka and Kamomo. The Megaton stuff was good. She comes in there with a double win. So technically, Rob, 3 wins in 2 shows, starting to get closer to batting 500, my friend. 3.25 stars, a really fun match. Megaton getting another big win.
Natsumi Shozuki and Arina Yamanaka and Koki Amare and Nagisa Takibana. Obviously, we have already spent a lot of time bigging up Nagisa Takibana, and I was a fan of her and the stuff she did with both Natsumi Shozuki and Arina Yamanaka, actually.
My only complaint about this match, Rob, it went under 9 minutes. This was great.
Agreed. It was.
Again, Natsumi, since even before the injury, was great, but she's really coming back all full of like something to prove. And again, she got that big championship match coming with Mayu. Arena, again, more time in Marigold. She's a champion here. Koki Amare really seems like that she's back full tilt from those 2 injuries she had last year. And again, Nagisa Takibana, one of my favorite wrestlers to watch in this company, which is saying something. They melded everything together. It worked really well. Obviously, it was just the teamwork of Natsumi and Arena knowing each other as a tag team a little bit more than Koki and Natsumi. Again, my only complaint with this match is it went less than 10 minutes. Would have loved this 12 or 13. The stuff with Nagisa and Natsumi, that was next level, and as well as Arena and Koki Amare. Again, really great match here on match number 3. 3 3/4 stars. That does see 2/3 of our trios champion picking up the win. But even though Nagisa was left looking, not eating at the lights, Rob, I thought Nagisa once again really stood out in this match.
Miko Ano and Hummingbird against Seri Yamaoka and Shino. I know, I got you. This was great.
I was looking at my notes.
This was great. This was great for a number of reasons, and was one of, if not my favorite match on this card. I thought this was fantastic. Miko Ano and Seri Yamaoka. We've talked about Miko Ano and Natsumi Shozuki. We've talked about Miko Ano and Misa Matsui. Miko Ano and Seri Yamaoka could be very tasty, Matt.
I'm not going to disagree, but I'm going to add on to that. I'm going to add on to your steak and give you a steak. If we're stacking wins for Miko Ano with the red belt, and we should, Miko Ano versus Shino. A young Shino, like literally like leaving class. Like, I have to get out early because I have a championship match with Miko Ano, because styles make fights. Obviously, you have this. Obviously, with Seri, it's right there because you have the grounded style, the wrestling versus the striker. You would always see that in MMA. It's like it makes for a great fight. You have the K1 kickboxer and Miko Ano versus the amateur style of Seri. So yes, I definitely want to see that match. But Shino, can you imagine? It's like Shino's only 17, 18, 19 years old, and she gets this big championship match against Shino. And what's she gonna do when they can have something, especially in this match, because Sheena was doing the snap kicks to Miko, and Miko was registering them, and then Miko absolutely laid waste to young Shino. So that's a story you can have where Miko Anna looks like she's gonna blow Shino out of the water, only for Shino to make the big comeback towards the end. There's a big story you can do there. There's a lot they have set up for Miko Anno. I'm expecting a big long run, and rightfully so, because Utami's made. Mayu's made. Victoria Zuki's doing unreal things as United National Champion. Sakurai is doing great, everything they plug her in. You keep putting Miko Anno in championship matches, in main events, whether on pay-per-views, whether in Shinjuku Face, Cork and Hall, 176 box. It's going to help everybody out and make Miko Anno a bigger star. And like I said, buddy, there's a lot lined up. Seri, Shino, Misa, Natsumi, whenever they want to run back the rematch with Utami. There's a big match there with Mayu. So there's a lot they can do by plugging certain things into one Miko Anno, and I am all for it. But you're absolutely right. Favorite parts of this match were Miko Anno and Seri Yamaoka. But let's not forget about Hummingbird. Sorry, almost like we left her out of the nest on this one, but we didn't. I promise. As we're building up towards the end here, Hummingbird hits a huge top rope crossbody onto Seri Yamaoka, and then as we're building towards the finish, I have in my notes more Shino and Miko Anno violence. Those two really took it to each other. We do have Seri Yamaoka hits the gut wrench suplex onto Hummingbird, and then we do have Seri goes for the German suplex, but Hummingbird escapes the German suplex, gets like wrist control on Seri, and again, does like this inverted way of the European clutch, which I thought was really clever how she got into it. I've never seen it before. It was very innovative. I thought, again, Hummingbird's doing really great stuff with her offense and putting it where it belongs in great spots that gets you thinking that she may get an upset win. But then Seri hits the big spear and the deadlift German, because she had a deadlift Hummingbird, because Hummingbird was out after that spear. Deadlift German suplex for the 3 count, 3 3/4 stars. Again, another fantastic tag match. Spunky Monster looking really good. Obviously, Hummingbird eating the lights and looking at the lights in this one was terrific. But you're absolutely right. They have a lot in place for Miko Anno if that's what they choose to do, my friend.
Moving on then to your your fourth match on the card. Sorry, it is your main event. It is your semi-main.
Why
am I doubting myself? Why am I doubting myself?
You haven't seen The Godfather.
I think it's because I'm thrown by the giant fish that emerged after the show. But yeah, Maddy Morgan and Angel Hayze teaming with Mai Sakurai against the Darkness Revolution. The first exposure Maddy and Angel have had with the heel faction. How do you think they did, and what did you think about their chemistry with Mai Sakurai?
Smart booking. If you want to get this team over as baby faces, put them in the ring with heels. And you're going to have them team up with one of the most over charismatic, likable baby faces in Mai Sakurai. So you're just feeding off that. And they worked really well, taking the heat. Chalky really dominant here early on. There was Angel Hayze and Maddy Morgan, both really good stuff with Misa Matsui. They kind of work similar styles. Then you have Mai Sakurai kind of putting everything into place. So this way, Angel and Maddy Morgan got everything in really well. Rhea Sato obviously plays her role good in this match. It wasn't enough of her in this match for me, because I think this was kind of more of putting spots into place. And I think where Rhea Sato's at her best is when she's doing that grinding down style, like we saw with Seri Yamaoka that we talked about the Corkin show. But again, Rhea was still great because she's fantastic, and a very underrated dropkick. Like, she throws that thing with a lot of vigor. But ultimately, though, towards the end, we do have Angel Hayze hitting the Fisherman Suplex and that swinging neck breaker onto Rhea Sato for the 3 count. 3 3/4 stars, a really solid outing for Maddy and Angel on their first week in Marigold. And I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do in these upcoming shows, my friend.
I'm really intrigued to know if Maddy or Angel thought, yes, I'm going over to Japan. And within their first week, I wonder if either of them thought that they would be holding a massive inflatable fish. I think that's the big question.
Well, we need to do some interviewing, my friend. We have some friends that work over at Marigold. Obviously, we don't have the issue with the language barrier. This is something, Rob, that we will get on it. Our broadcast journalism, as Bobby the Brain Heenan would say, we need to do some investigation. We need to figure out, we need to ask the hard-hitting questions, because, Rob, that's what happens here on the Marigold Standard.
I think between that and wondering when myself and you are going to have our own faces all over our jackets like Kuroshio, Tokyo, Japan. I think they are the biggest questions that come from this podcast episode.
I like how you said Tokyo, Japan instead of Chelsea Green, which we'll talk about. We're actually going to be talking about Chelsea Green here towards the end of this episode, which we're getting to. Yeah.
There you go. Main event then, Chika Goto's homecoming match. Matt, predictably, this was great. This was fantastic. And again, we built on the great stuff that Chika Goto and Victoria Yuzuki did at Korakuen Hall. Mayu and Utami are two of the best to do it. So, of course, when they step in a ring, it's, of course, magic. Every single permutation, every single partnership that we had in this match was great. Thoroughly enjoyable match.
Yeah, I believe when they did the last homecoming show, it was Goto versus Mayu in a singles, which Goto, looking at the lights and maybe eating the lights, depending on how hard those super kicks were. So like when this was announced, I was like, are they gonna have Chika Goto lose again here in the homecoming show? And it's like, they're not gonna have Utami lose. I don't think they're gonna have Yuzuki and Mayu lose because they already did Goto versus Yuzuki. Now this is before their Korakuen Hall, that great match that they had about a month ago. That I'm like, yeah, maybe I can see it. But then as this was building and this was getting time, I'm like, this can go the old TLD. And it didn't. Poor Chika Goto eating another L in her homecoming show. I will say this again, in my opinion, Utami, Biko Ano, Mayu, and Yuzuki are the four pillars right now in Marigold. You have three of the four pillars in this match. Chika Goto, as great as she is, she's not there yet. This is her homecoming show. She's in the main event with three world-class wrestlers. What does Chika Goto need to do? She needs to up her game. And very much like she did against Victoria Yuzuki for that Unite National Championship, Chika Goto upped her game. And this match, Rob, what did it go? I have written down almost 23 minutes. I mean, this was terrific. You had time to tell her story. You had some quick double teams in the beginning from Mayu and Yuzuki, but then you have Utami and Chika Goto overpowering Mayu and Yuzuki. And then you go back to the teamwork that we know that is great with Mayu and Yuzuki, getting the heat on Chika Goto, which I thought was interesting. With these homecoming shows, you never know if you want that person taking the heat because then you have the crowd more invested to the hot tag, or have the person working the apron because then that person comes in as the hometown hero taking the hot tag. It can work either way. It all depends on the participants involved. Obviously, all four of these wrestlers are great. Utami comes in on the hot tag. It's just shoulder tackles for days. And then Mayu and Yuzuki were like, oh, we should just do some of that double teamwork. That'll work, right? Yeah, sure. Mayu calls the play. It winds up working. And then we get a little bit heat on Utami. And then we get the second hot tag, Chika Goto. Chika Goto comes in and is all, the lariats, the forearms, and obviously Yuzuki and Mayu are putting all this over. The crowd is really into everything Chika Goto is doing. They're not booing Mayu and Yuzuki by any stretch of the imagination. They're just into everything that their hometown girl is doing. I do like how we get this match. It winds up going in all over the place, like a Darkness Revolution match where it goes like up the stairs. There's all this craziness that happens. We get back in the ring and we get like this great little mini match with Goto and Yuzuki. Goto hitting a lariat and the Emerald Frozen onto Victoria Yuzuki. We do have Goto going for the Goto choke slam. Victoria Yuzuki counters it with a Rana, not a Yugami, but a Hurricanrana. See what I did? For a 2.9. And then when Yuzuki comes back up, Goto hits the big Goto choke slam for a 2.9 count. And then we do have Mayu comes in for the save. That opens up the door for Mayu and Yuzuki to hit super kicks and a double basement drop kick. That sends Utami and Chika Goto to the floor, which is not a good place to be because we have Mayu doing a suicide dive on one side of the ring, the same time Yuzuki is doing the giant post dive. I thought that was great. We've seen Mayu and Yuzuki do the dives at the same time, but not different ends of the ring, and then Mayu with the suicide and Yuzuki with the post dive. Really cool visual, and the cameraman did a great job pulling back so you can see everything. Yuzuki hits the pump knee onto Chika Goto, and then we get the super kick sandwich onto Chika Goto from Mayu and Yuzuki. That opens up the door for Victoria Yuzuki to hit the straight jacket German suplex onto Chika Goto for the 3 count. 4.25 stars, a brilliant match that everybody got over. It was fun. You had a great tag work, you had great singles work, you had great near falls, you had the match going all over the place, you had the big dives. You had everything that you'd want in this match. 23 minutes was a lot of time to tell their story, and they took advantage of each and every second. Even though poor Victoria Yuzuki on these homecoming matches are 0-2, Rob, maybe one of these days she'll get a win in her hometown match. But even though she lost, she was so beloved in this match. Again, Mayu, Yuzuki, and Utami made a great job. They made sure they did a great job getting Chika Goto, even in a loss, looking really great. Again, 4.25 stars. This was terrific.
Looking ahead then, before we do indeed gaze at Julia, we have got 2 shows that Marigold will be running the end of this week, going into next week. Tomorrow, Marigold will run from the Matsuyama City General Community Center in Ehime on March 20th. That card is as follows. You've got Seri Yamaoka taking on AI in singles action, Hummingbird taking on Yuka Yamazaki, Natsumi Shozuki and Shoko Kashino, with Shoko Kashino's 3rd match of her trial series taking place there. Mikuano Kokiyamare and Megaton taking on Naoya Ishikawa, Angel Hayze, and Maddy Morgan. You have got Utami Hayashishita, Nagisa Takibana, and Chika Goto taking on Mai Sakurai, Shino, and Suru Himika from Ehime Pro Wrestling will be making her debut for Marigold. She did do a shot for Stardom at the start of last year, but is primarily based in Ehime Pro Wrestling, has done some shots for DDT as well. And then in your main event, you've got Mayu Iwatani, Victoria Yuzuki, and Komomo Minami taking on Chiaki, Misa Matsui, and Ria Sato. The following day, on Saturday, Marigold are back in the 176 box in Osaka. Komomo Minami taking on AI in singles match. Victoria Yuzuki versus Hummingbird versus Ria Sato in a 3-way. Natsumi Shozuki is going to team up with Megaton against Misa Matsui and Chiaki. With Megaton's win rate, maybe that's a way we parlay that into a twin-star title match. Just saying. Utami Hayashishita, Chika Goto, and Naoya Ishikawa will take on Mai Sakurai, Angel Hayze, and Maddy Morgan. Shoko Kashino's trial series doesn't get any easier. Match 4 will be against Mayu Iwatani. Mikuano Kokiyamare and Nagisa Takibana will take on Spunky Monster and Yuki Yamazaki in your main event. So those 2 shows coming up on Wrestle Universe, both will be video on demand. So make sure you check out Wrestle Universe's streaming schedule. With that being said, Matt, before we disappear and let these good people get on with their day or their evening, in fact, it is time, my friend, for a glimpse of Julia. Because let's be honest, it's not a gaze. It's a fleeting glimpse.
I think we're building to something really cool here, and I'm hoping. So we got Tiffany Stratton. Fingers crossed, buddy. Tiffany Stratton versus Kiana James. Obviously, Kiana James and Julia, they're associates. Really great as a tag team. As Tiffany Stratton is coming to the ring, she's kind of cutting a promo, basically saying, Tiffany Stratton, I'm going to beat you. And then, Julia, I'm coming after your U.S. championship. Chelsea Green comes into the picture, and she's in a wheelchair. And I don't know if she's legit injured or if it's just a work. I don't know. Chelsea Green is so great. And as she comes in the picture, Tiffany Stratton has no time for her. She literally grabs a wheelchair and throws it. Where Chelsea Green went, I don't know. But as Tiffany is making her way to the entrance, Alba Fire is running after Chelsea Green, which I thought was really entertaining. We have a really solid match with Tiffany and Kiana James. Again, Kiana James is very underrated in the ring. Tiffany Stratton constantly getting better. I thought she was the MVP of the Elimination Chamber last month. But as this match is building up, obviously Julia is in Kiana James's corner. As this match is building up, Alba Fire winds up finding Chelsea Green and wheels her to the ring in the wheelchair. We do have some interference there from Chelsea Green, as Chelsea Green is kind of feuding with almost everybody here. And then Julia comes down. She goes to yell at Chelsea Green. She gets on the apron. Kiana James goes to boot one Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany moves, hits Julia. Julia then takes the bump onto Chelsea Green into the wheelchair. That opens up the door for Tiffany to hit the Finley roll and the prettiest moonsault ever onto Kiana James. So it does look like they're building up Julia versus Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. I know that's what's been rumored. I am all for it because Julia is a next level wrestler. that for some reason it's her stuff's just not connecting as well with the crowd as it was once before. And Tiffany Stratton is somebody that connects really well with the crowd. That is a very good wrestler. So I think if you take somebody with Tiffany Stratton's star power and a really good wrestler versus Julia, who can use a little bit of a star power, and Julia's a next level wrestler, I think that'll make for a great match. Where Chelsea Green comes in, Rob, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to make it a three-way. I don't know if Chelsea Green's going to wait the winner. I don't know if she's injured. All I know is Chelsea Green mixing it in with Tiffany, Kiana James, and Julia has made for really entertaining TV. I'm just hoping that we do get a singles match with Tiffany Stratton and Julia. I think that'd be best for both parties, in my humbled opinion, good sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the end of the Marigold Standard, a longer one. Actually, we didn't think it would go this long, but there we go. Apparently, we just enjoy talking about Marigold, and it's been such a long time since we've spoken about Marigold together. So it's been nice to begin that again, my friend.
It was nice, buddy. This was comfortable.
Absolutely. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. We truly do appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't already, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review and a comment. It really does help the podcast out. It is a free way to help the podcast out. World of Joshi Patreon as well, patreon.com/World of Joshi, where you can get all of these episodes ad-free, as well as a whole archive of bonus content, a whole treasure trove, a war chest of bonus content as well, for as little as $1 a month, 25 cents a week. You can find us on social media at World of Joshi. You can find me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin. Mr. Turner, please signs off, good sir.
Folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, best, and fastest way to get a hold of me. Or guys, you can shoot me an email, matt@worldofjoshi.com, or the classic, the StardomCast 22 at gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Marigold Standard. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. It's like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast. Because we're all together, and everybody's different. Everybody's special.